I'd like to call to order the village board meeting of November 11th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Schultz. Here. Jacobson.
Here.
Blackwood.
Here.
Hollenbeck.
Here.
Trundle.
Here.
Krecklow.
Here.
Bruning.
Here. All right, Lucy, proof of posting, please.
The agenda was posted in the upper and lower levels of the Amundsen Center, Badger Bake, the village website, and the post office.
Okay, thank you for that. Our first public comment, any takers?
Chris, I apologize. Is the Pledge of Allegiance not on
Oh.
here?
Nope.
No, we can do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. Let's do
Please
it anyways.
stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there.
Yes, to you as well.
All right, let's see. So, first public comment. Who we got? Any takers? And I would ask also, if you haven't signed in on the back, that would be very helpful to Lucy because she puts it down on the meeting minutes on who attends. So please do.
My name is Gail Tufty. I live at 314 Oriole Lane. I have been asked by Bruce Virgin, who lives at 213 Elm Street in Cambridge, to read his statement tonight. He wanted to be here, but a personal issue came up and he was not able to.
All right.
His statement reads, he's here once again to voice his concern and disapproval concerning the $480,000 loan the board is trying to get approved through the bank, First Bank. He feels that rather than trying to borrow the village out of debt, the more prudent action would be to devise a budget, finding ways to spend less money, allowing for paying down debt. It's time to make some hard decisions and find places to minimize services, restructure current debt, and start climbing out of the hole we are in. Borrowing more money will only dig a deeper hole. If people here are not willing to make these hard decisions, perhaps they should step aside and let someone who is willing to work with what we have sit in those chairs. Again, he thinks borrowing nearly $500,000 at this conjunction would be irresponsible, and for the bank to approve it would be imprudent on their part. He is also confused as to how the water department can show a huge surplus and the, quote, village be so far in debt. Isn't it, quote, our water department? Can't we use our money to pay down the debt? If not, then shouldn't the water surplus be returned to the payers? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, public comment is still open.
Julie Christ, 312 Oriole Lane, Cambridge. I come before you tonight with a mix of emotions to express sadness, disappointment, bewilderment, and anger. I am sad for our community that we have a board that does not seem to listen to the concerns of its constituency. All public comments seem to fall on deaf ears, and concerns are never addressed. I am disappointed in the very rude email response I received from Chris last week, accusing me of finger-wagging and harassment after sending him just 2 emails with questions that deserved answers. I never received those answers. Don't we all as constituents deserve to be treated in a polite manner and have legitimate questions answered by our village president and administrator? I am bewildered and angry about the reasons this board continues to deprioritize financial responsibility, especially when it comes to audit and finance meetings and working on a budget. Why is it always a rush at the end of the year to get this done, when discussions could be happening way before November and way before any deadlines that need to be met? Let's do better, trustees.
All right, thank you. Any other takers? Public comment? All right, if not, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Oh, we got one more.
Betsy Bush, 566 Cletus Street, Cambridge. I emailed Chris last weekend and received an email back saying, call me, but I do not live on my phone, so that is not a good thing for me. I had some questions, and like, for instance, has the board instructed the administrator treasurer to meet with department heads and committees to instruct a budget reduction percentage for 2026? It's hard, but sometimes you got to do it. Do you as board trustees receive monthly budget variance reports? A balance sheet? Any kind of accounting? Again, what additional oversight is going into the administrator treasurer position, considering that you combined it? Do we have a brush dump?
Yes.
That's just a question as a new resident, because I don't get why we're collecting leaves. I saw 3 trucks with the leaf collector last week, and that just seems like a bit much. Like, do we have to rent that because does sewer and water district own the leaf collector? Do we have to? I just wonder if anybody looks at stuff like that. How much financial waste exists in our city and our budget? Does anybody know? The loan that we're inevitably going to wind up taking out, what are the terms? What is the interest rate? Because you talked about it a long time last month or last meeting, but I never did hear the interest rate or the length or any penalties that could exist in it, or something that causes us to have to pay some kind of something off in 5 years. Do you know what the interest rate is on the
Yeah,
loan?
we do. And we're going to get briefed on it during this meeting.
But you don't share it with the public yet because you aren't doing it yet, or I don't get it.
We vote on it tonight.
So it doesn't have to be shared with
So
the
what I'm
public.
going to do, Betsy, is I'm going to take your letter that you sent me, and I'm going to give it to our administrator, and she can distribute it to all of the trustees, so they all can answer your questions. All right?
So
Because this isn't supposed to be a back and forth.
yeah, I understand that, but what is a citizen to do? You know, what are we to do when we file for public record and it takes 3 weeks and we don't get answers here? And you know, there's complaint that people don't get involved, but then when you try to get involved, it seems obstructive. So I just would like to see us pursue other avenues, like cutting people's budget before we take out a loan. And transparency is important and accuracy is important. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Public comment is still open.
My name is Matt Dozwa. I live on Drumlin Trail. Just real quick, the recording that we do here, for some reason, and it's been this way for a while, I've noticed by the time you get like halfway to the end, it like gets corrupted somehow. It's like it repeats 2 or 3 times what the speaker is saying, and it's almost impossible to follow along at that point. So if we could take a look at that, because there's a lot of people
Melissa's
that
got a plan for it for tonight. She's, sometimes these meetings go too long.
we're aware of it and fixing it.
Yep.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other public comment?
Steve Struss. I live at 313 South Street here in Cambridge. I just want to address a couple of comments that came up earlier. For one, the leaf pickup. The village has to do that by DNR regulation because it keeps the leaves out of the stormwater system and out of the river. Also, there's a burning ban on, not a burning ban, but an ordinance to not burn leaves. So if people can't burn leaves, what do they do with them? So the village therefore picks them up. And we don't rent the truck. I'm on water and sewer, so I know this. The equipment belongs to the village. They keep it well maintained, and so it's a service that's provided to all the residents. Get the leaves out to the curb and they get picked up. So it's not something that's an optional thing for the village. We can't stop doing it, in other words. And I feel like a lot of the things that you as a board face, insurance, police service, EMS, you name it, you're given the bill. It's not negotiable. There's very little that you folks can work with as far as cutting service. So I feel your pain. I've been there. So I know at Audit and Finance you go through every line item and see what you can cut back. And there's very little that's optional. So
All right.
you hate to borrow money, but if you get it at a good rate, it's the best we can do. So that's my comment.
Thanks for the clarification. All right. Any other,
No, I said I'm on water and sewer, so I'm not.
any other takers for public comment? All right, if not, we're going to move on to consent agenda. Looks like we have village board meeting minutes from October 14th, 2025, and village
Chris?
board meetings from October 28th.
We're tabling that for tonight.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and push that out till next
Postponing.
meeting. Postpone it.
Okay.
Paula?
Is the person from McFarland here?
Yeah, both of them.
We've got both, we're gonna move those.
Yeah.
I would like to make a motion to move that up to current discussion.
All right. Any seconds?
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any issues with it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. McFarland, come on up.
Senior
two of
Services?
us here?
We just don't want you to have to sit through the whole meeting.
Oh.
Because it's gonna be really
There's a
long,
tendency of going
and that's the
long.
only thing you're here for, so.
Well, thank you, I appreciate it.
In my understanding, this is just information only, so there won't be any back and forth. It'll just be what kind of services we receive from McFarland. So
Yes, very good.
appreciate you coming in.
And so trustees, Katie is here to talk about the services and what they do, but if there's financial questions, those would need to be brought up at a different time. Okay.
Well, thank you all for having me here, Lucy and the rest of the board. It's so nice to be here. I was here earlier today, actually, for the meal program, so I got to spend the afternoon after that at your library. So I've gotten to learn a lot about Cambridge today. So my name is Katie Gleddy-Syan. I am the director at McFarland Senior Outreach. I'm relatively new to that role. I started in that role in April of this year, but I've been working as a case manager at McFarland Senior Outreach since 2018, so I'm pretty familiar with the kind of work that we do. So I just wanted to explain to you a little bit about what we do as a focal point. For example, what is a focal point, as well as a number of different things like that. Also, I did want to say Happy Veterans Day to anyone who is a veteran or family member of a veteran. I really appreciate you today, and all days, but in particular today. So McFarland Senior Outreach Services. Why is McFarland here talking to you in Cambridge? Part of that is because we are one of the 12 different focal points in Dane County. What is a focal point? That's a term that is actually derived from the text of the Older Americans Act of 1965, where a lot of the services originated from on a federal level. It means a facility established to encourage the maximum co-location and coordination of services for older adults, serving as a community-based gateway to county aging network, connecting older adults to vital community services to help them stay healthy and independent. Whew, that's a big long thing, but focal point, so there's 12 of them. McFarland has a contract with Dane County to provide some services, and they tell us what our service area is. So McFarland's service area is the village of McFarland, the town of Dunn, the town of Pleasant Springs, the village of Cambridge, the town of Christiana, and the town of Rockdale. So that's our service area. That's our little chunk of Dane County that we serve. Our mission is to serve older adults, age 60 and over, who are living independently in the communities. And we want to help them to remain safe and independent as long as possible while preserving their dignity. So what are those contracted services? Number one is case management. That's another term when I first started. I'm like, what the heck is a focal point and what does case management mean? So this is what case management is. It's a dynamic, collaborative process of facilitating client wellness and autonomy through advocacy, assessment, planning, communication, education, resource management, service coordination. Case managers link clients to appropriate providers and resources to meet client-centered goals. The problem with trying to explain case management is it's huge. It's a whole lot of different things, and it's different for every single person. It's also difficult to share stories of it because this is confidential, right? And if I start sharing a story and giving some details, even if I don't say the name or the gender of the person, you might be able to figure it out reading between the lines. So it's kind of difficult to explain what that is. But some important elements of it is that it's client-centered. So it's really based on what the client needs, okay? Well, I'm not a case manager anymore, but the case managers, they're really there to primarily listen to them and then to help support what their goals are, okay? We come to you. Unless you want to come to us to our office, that's absolutely fine too. Some people don't want us to meet in their home, but we come to you. So we're community-based. We're able to travel to you or travel to the library to meet with you or wherever you want to meet that is a safe space for that client. Again, it's confidential. So we don't share that information that we talk to that client about with anyone unless they've signed a release of information for us to do so. Sometimes we do, though. Sometimes they'll sign a release of information. We might talk with their doctor, we might talk with their kids, we might talk with a community service agency, but that's completely up to them. And they can revoke that release of information at any time. And that's really important to remember. This can be short-term or long-term. Case management can be one day, we sit down, we talk about some resources, we provide them for some referrals, and then we're good. Maybe we'll follow up in a couple of weeks, couple of months, and they're good. Other clients, we see them for years. We've had some clients that have been on our books for decades that we are continuing to provide help to help them stay independent as long as possible. So what is that big umbrella? I'll just give you some things that kind of fit under it so you kind of have an idea of what our scope of practice is. And a lot of these intersect too, right? No one lives in a vacuum, right? Everyone has a very broad life and in lots of different areas of their life. And sometimes if they are having some sort of issues requiring help, it means help needs to happen in a few different areas. So one is housing. I'm sure you're all aware that affordable housing is a challenge throughout Dane County, right? So we can help people with housing. Sometimes that means finding or maintaining affordable housing. Sometimes that means downsizing. Sometimes it means their house, however their home is no longer accessible for them. So maybe it's talking about home modifications or having someone come in the house to help them, support services, things like that, safety issues in their home. Financial assistance can be quite broad as well. We have access to a number of different grants, kind of depending on what their eligibility factors are and what their needs are. But we help a lot of clients with energy assistance to be able to help pay their utility bill, especially in the winter months. We can help them sign up for Lifeline to get a free phone or connect to internet. SNAP benefits or food stamps, we can help with that. We do a lot of legal support. We are not lawyers, so we're not attorneys, I want to clarify. However, we can help them do power of attorney for healthcare documents. We do a lot of, unfortunately, scam response. Many older adults are victims of financial scam and fraud, so we help connect them with the help they need. We also try and do a lot of prevention about that and just education about scams that are out there. We deal with unfair housing, we can help with estate planning, we can deal with eviction redaction if necessary, and kind of help with that. Another thing is we're, all of our case managers, we have two, by the way, two case managers, but they're SHIP counselors. That stands for State Health Insurance Assistance Program. Kind of a mouthful. But that means we are all trained to be able to provide unbiased guidance for Medicare. If any of you have dealt with Medicare, it is a quagmire. It is very complicated. There are a lot of moving parts, and it changes every year. So right now, we're in the middle of Medicare Part D open enrollment. So that's the prescription drug plans. And we encourage everyone, so a plug, if you haven't done this yet, everyone should look at their Medicare Part D plan every year, or their Medicare Advantage plans every year, because a lot of things can change. And we encourage you to do that with someone who is unbiased. If you talk to someone who works for an insurance company, you probably shouldn't be surprised if they encourage you to enroll in that insurance company's plan. So it's nice to work with someone who is unbiased. We also help with Medicaid applications as well. And
Can I pause for just 1 second? I wanted to ask the 3 paramedics in the backs if you could check on Betsy if she's doing okay, because she's having a coughing fit. Are you all right, Betsy? All right, all right.
Oh.
Thanks. Just want to make sure everything's okay back there.
thank you.
All right. Sorry for interrupting.
No, no problem. I was talking about Medicaid applications. We can help with that as well, and that process can be kind of challenging, and sometimes you need a lot of supportive documentation, and we're happy to help you to access that and to be able to get it to the appropriate people who would need that. We do a lot of caregiver support. That can be just supportive services in the home, respite care. The majority of caregiving happens by family members in the home. In fact, in November, it is National Caregiver Awareness Month. So thank you to all of the family caregivers who are out there doing the hard work. We like to acknowledge that and be able to be sure that they know that there is support available for them. We also do a lot of help connecting people with mental health resources, addiction resources, hoarding resources, different things like that. We do referrals through a Dane County program called the Mental Health Resource Team. They specialize in older adults. And we kind of do a friendly handoff working with that team of mental health providers to be able to connect older adults with long-term counseling and services, things like that. So that is something that is very stigmatized, unfortunately, especially with older adults, but we're trying to break down some of those barriers so that we can provide better support. Transportation, we do some transportation facilitation. We have 2 RSVP, which stands for Retired Senior Volunteer Program, volunteers in Cambridge to be able to help provide free rides to and from non-emergency medical appointments. We also, through Transit Solutions, provide rides to and from the grocery stores, and there's also free rides to the meal site, which is here at the Amundsen Center. We also have a loan closet, which is we loan out durable medical equipment, stuff like wheelchairs, walkers, commodes, bath benches, knee scooters, things like that. That's for about a 6-month loan, and it's a suggested donation for that. That can be for someone who has had an injury or an illness, or if you have someone visiting from out of town who you need a wheelchair for a little bit. We're happy to be able to provide that for low to no cost to you. Also, I mean, after a surgery, you don't want to purchase all of that stuff and then have it hanging around your house. So better to give us a call. We're happy to drop that off, or you can pick it up. So that's the case management side of things. I hope I gave you a little taste of all the different little things that are included in that. The second piece of our contract with Dane County is to do a nutrition program, a senior nutrition program. And what that means is to provide nutritious, affordable, and accessible food for older adults age 60 and over. So nutritious meaning all of the menus are created by a registered dietitian who is a Dane County staff member through the Department of Health and Human Services. And then the food on that menu is then prepared in a commercial kitchen for McFarland and Cambridge. The food is prepared at Atlantis Valley Foods in Cottage Grove. There's a few that we can choose from. That's the one that we have contracted with. It's affordable because it's just a suggested donation. There is no cost. It's a suggested donation of $5 per meal. But you can pay whatever you want, and you can pay nothing if you choose to. We want to make sure that it is accessible and affordable to everybody. The actual cost per meal is $15.19. That is subsidized by the federal government. It's accessible for anyone over the age of 60. Like I said, we do provide transport for free to and from, including wheelchair transport, to and from the Amundsen Center. Here it's on Tuesdays and Fridays at noon. We do have a meal coordinator who is employed through the Village of McFarland to be able to do that on-site meal coordination. So her name is Dawn. She is amazing. She's been with us for a long time. We are very grateful to have her in this role here. She works about 6 hours per week, so 3 hours per meal day, to be able to set up the meal, serve the meal, clean up. As well as she does some reporting and things like that as well. And then we have volunteers who help with that. I did, by the way, out there, I did make some signs, some extra ones. Here's some information about our meal program. And then we are looking for more volunteers. So I will share with you some of our numbers, but they are growing. So that means it's becoming harder for our staff member to do that 3 hours per meal day. So we could use more volunteers. So if you know someone who is either retired, or maybe they have kids in school and they have some free time during the day, or we have some people in McFarland who do this that work from home and they work with their employer to get a little bit of a longer lunch 1 day a week, and then they can come and help volunteer. So those are all like great situations for volunteers. If anyone is interested, please reach out. We would love to build our volunteer pool a little bit more. So what does that process look like? Okay, so in order to have a meal, it needs to be reserved in advance because our caterers need to order their food, they need to prepare the food. So we say 2 business days in advance, please call us to reserve a meal. Those orders are then placed. The food is prepared the day of, so it's prepared hot. It comes to the Amundsen Center hot and is kept warm or cold. There are cold elements as well. And then what Dawn does, our staff member, is she works with a volunteer to portion and package up a certain number of the meals that are carry-out meals. So a certain number of the meals here in Cambridge are prepared in styrofoam containers so that people can drive up, park, call, and someone will run the meal out to them so that they can take it home. Those are for folks who, for whatever reason, are challenged to be able to sit down and have a meal here, okay? Those could be people who are temporarily doing carryouts, or maybe that's just the best long-term option for them if they're receiving meals. Then they also portion up meals and they serve them right over there in that room. And one of the things we try really hard to do is make it a pleasant experience, right? So the nutritional element of the meal is very important. That is a huge piece of this that is very important. However, the other piece to it that is often kind of forgotten is the social connection piece of it all. So when we have our meals in McFarland, it's interesting, that's a feedback we get more than anything. Like, yes, the food is good and it's nice. There's some things people like more than others, of course, you know. People have their favorites, but the best part of it that we always hear is that this is their time to sit down with other older adults and have a conversation. A lot of these people live alone, right? And right now, actually, it's also Social Connection Awareness Week. So there is the Wisconsin Coalition for Social Connection. And in McFarland, this is one of our primary issues that we are working on. We have 3 main initiatives, and one of them is preventing social isolation and loneliness. There is some shocking evidence that is coming out, some research and data that's coming out. For example, the National Institute for Health, NIH, in 2025 came out with a study. This was a longitudinal study with over 60,000 people who were participating in this. And what they found is that older adults who identified as feeling lonely had a 31% higher risk of developing dementia. 31% higher risk. That's higher than smoking. That's higher than living, like not doing any exercise, having a very unhealthy,
sedentary.
sedentary. Thank you. I was having a vocabulary meltdown.
No problem.
Sedentary lifestyle. This is a higher risk factor than having a poor diet, and that is just feeling lonely. And loneliness is not something that we can control, right? That is a subjective measure of how someone feels. But something that we can control is how socially isolated people are. That is an objective measure, right? That is something that we can prevent. We can create systems so that people can come together and create meaningful connections, right? So as more and more of this research comes out, we're realizing that this is an epidemic. This is something that we really need to start considering how to deal with. So anyway, what we try to do is not only just have a meal, but simple things like we provide placemats and we provide nice napkins. We actually we got a really lovely donation from someone who had been attending the meal site. He passed away, and his family sent this lovely card that said, you know, our loved one always enjoyed these meals. He spoke highly of that community there. It was his family away from family, and we would like to donate this money to your meal site. So McFarland received that money, and we put it right back into the Cambridge meal site. And in talking with our coordinator there, we said, what would work well? What would help build this community? She said, well, maybe some holiday decorations and maybe some tablecloths and some like holiday napkins and, you know, like birthday things. So now we do little birthday celebrations if it's someone's birthday, and she makes cupcakes. So it went kind of back to all of those things, all of the things to build community. That's what we were really trying to focus on there. Anyways, okay. Numbers. So things have been growing this year. And one of the reasons that things have been growing is there's a new program. It's a joint program between Jefferson ADRC, Aging and Disability Resource Center, because Cambridge is right on the line of Jefferson and Dane, right? So the Jefferson dementia specialist from the ADRC and the dementia specialist from Dane County came together, and they're doing a really interesting program that has been incredibly effective too. So there's something called memory cafes. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but it's an idea, it's a model that originally started in the UK and then came to the United States. And it's this idea where a person living with dementia and their care partner can come to a safe space with other people who have dementia and other care partners and be able to socialize. One of the most isolating diseases is dementia, right? Because you start to lose some of your ability to notice what's going on in public, and maybe your speech changes, maybe your ability to have conversations change, and that can be really hard for both the person living with dementia as well as their care partner. So this idea of memory cafes is this safe space where they can come and still socialize, because that's one of the most important things when you have dementia is don't isolate, right? Keep those skills, keep practicing those skills. So what they did here is a little bit different. So they have two facilitators. One meets in this room with all the care partners, and it's a support group for all the care partners, so they can all chat with one another. It can be a challenging time, and so this is a really important time for them to give each other some support. And then the people living with dementia are in the dining room, and we do some specialized activities together. Today it was about Veterans Day. So we listened to music, we sang songs, we did some art. It's usually different sensorial things. I brought in, there's these little robot dogs that look like a real dog. I don't know if you've seen any of these before. They're super cool, but you can like pet it and it'll respond to you. We brought that in. And we've gotten great feedback. And our meal numbers in Cambridge have been growing because this group happens right after the lunch. So what we've been finding is a lot of these people come and be like, they want to come and have lunch first. They know that a lot of the people here are safe people to be around and non-judgmental, and if their loved one maybe says something that's a little off the mark, that's okay. We're all fine with that. It's good. We're all accepting. And so our numbers are increasing. And I'm hoping, actually, there's a lot of different focal points throughout Dane County who are looking at this model like, this is working. So thank you, Cambridge. Thank you for hosting this space and learning what's really working for people who live with dementia and their caregivers. So anyways, why am I saying all this? Why is this important? I know everyone's budgets are tight. Everyone is struggling right now. So why, I always like to take an opportunity to be like, why is senior services important for all of us? Number one, we're all aging. Every single one of us right now. Everyone in this room is aging, and that's the point, right? Hopefully we all will age into older adulthood, and hopefully we will all maintain our health, and hopefully we will all maintain our independence. And so those seeds that we're planting today will hopefully flourish into those supports that will support all of us throughout time, right? Older adults are also the fastest growing demographic in this country, right? We've all heard it, right? The boomers are booming, right? So this is the population that is going to be needing more services. There are more people, more services are going to be needed. Also, the majority of people who are older adults live on a fixed income, right? At a certain point, we hope to stop working. I love my job, but I hope to stop working one day, right? So incomes get fixed. Inflation is rising. That means older adults are getting more crunch than everyone else. There's also a shortage of workers in supportive services in the United States. CNAs, home support assistants, geriatric physicians, in fact, healthcare in general. So we're kind of looking at some problems coming down the pike, right? So just keeping that in mind. And also, the greatest risk factor for a disabling condition is age, right? So even if we have the best laid plans and we do everything right, a disabling condition can happen, which limits your ability to function in the way you hope to function in society. It means you need to lean on others. You have to lean on your community, right? So keep that in mind, that there will be more people who will probably be doing that lean in, right, in our communities. And how can we support them, right? So that a disabling condition can be really isolating. It can necessitate those changes for housing, for finances, for transportation, for in-home assistance, okay? So what I believe in this field, and my colleagues believe, is that healthy communities reinforce the social fabric for older adults living in the community to be able to age with dignity. And how they do that is by, number one, acknowledging potential vulnerabilities. Not saying that all older adults are vulnerable, but it's important to acknowledge that vulnerabilities are there. Prepare and prevent and reduce risk. All of those things are important. Have accessible supports available, but most importantly, celebrate their resiliency, right? Older adults can be incredibly resilient, right? So have those supports there. Know that there are vulnerabilities, but more than anything, they're resilient. And that's something really to celebrate every day. So that's what McFarland Senior Outreach does. As far as questions, I did leave our brochure here. So this kind of goes over a lot of what I said, because I know I went over a whole lot of information. And again, I left these flyers up front. So help spread the word to Cambridge older adults that we do have a meal program here. We would love to see them come. It's on Tuesdays and Fridays. And please spread the word to volunteers, because we could use more volunteers. I don't know if I can take questions or not. I would,
from the trustees,
yeah, I would be
absolutely.
happy to take any questions if you have.
Have you had any issues with older adults when it comes to facilitating newer technologies?
Yes. Yes.
Can you speak to that?
Yeah, so we do have a volunteer at McFarland Senior Outreach. He's a retired older adult who will come and it's called Tech Help with Phil, and older adults can set up an appointment to meet with him, and he can help. So this is what he did as a field, right? So he can help them with like phones, laptops, desktop computers, things like that. Also, our library has adult services librarian who can also do some of those appointments to help people out there. There is also, as far as like connecting resource and things, there's a number of different ones. Another one is RSVP of Dane County, again stands for Retired Senior Volunteer Program. They have a number of different programs, and one of them is they partner with Senior Planet. That's a AARP program. That they do classes, they do one-on-one tech help appointments, things like that. So kind of depending on
What the need is.
what the need is, how mobile they are, things like that, we can kind of connect them with one of those resources.
Yeah, with a lot of things online now, I think to my grandparents, they get a little frustrated trying to navigate through Medicaid, Medicare, everything else. So that's why I was asking.
Yes,
there's
it is very frustrating because so much stuff is moving online.
Right.
And if people don't have access to, I mean, some people don't have access to the internet even, right? Or a computer or the knowledge of how to do that. As far as when you mentioned Medicare, when we set up appointments with older adults to do Medicare plan searches, we do them through the Medicare.gov web portal, but we can also bring a computer to their home. So if they can't get to our office, we can bring a computer to their home, and we have hotspots as well. So if they don't have internet, we can use a hotspot to be able to help them navigate through that process. Yeah,
Nice.
that's a good question.
Very nice.
Any other questions?
I don't have a question. I have a comment. I just thank McFarland that we've been able to partner with you over the last few years. I think this is a very important service that we provide to the seniors of our community who give us so much. And it's nice that we can partner with you to give back to them.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just have a question. So, you know, you talked about dementia support and you know, the risk of isolation, and you know, certainly isolation can lead to dementia, but it can also lead to premature death in many cases. And does your program, do you ever either partner with like local EMS or other providers to do things like blood pressure checks or, you know, any sort of kind of brief medical type things? Because, you know, in my practice, we'll get calls even from senior coordinators or case managers and things like that, because what they see is an individual who come in for the meal and they see a change in them, whether it's a cognition change or a physical change, and then they can help facilitate that care faster.
Absolutely. So a couple of different things. So we do memory screenings on a regular basis, where we have either someone from the mental health resource team come in. These are people who are certified to be able to do like the MOCA or there's different memory and mental health screening assessments that they can do. So either someone from the mental health resource team or the Aging and Disability Resource Center dementia specialists will come in and do those. Those you do have to sign up for in advance. Now, sometimes the dementia specialist can come to someone's home though too, if for whatever reason they can't get out. As far as blood pressure checks, so one thing that's a little bit different about so we're Senior Outreach Services. We're not McFarland Senior Center yet, but we're hoping to evolve in that direction. It's been kind of a long process, but we're seeing maybe a light at the end of the tunnel that we're kind of moving in that direction. Once our facility has a little bit bigger of a footprint for our services, and once our staff grows a little bit, we will be able to provide more of those regular blood pressure checks and things like a health room. A lot of senior centers have a health room, and they do. Some senior centers offer also supportive services like reflexology, foot care, massage, all of these different things that are offered at a lower rate to make it accessible for older adults. We hope to move in that direction. In the meantime, we do work with our EMS, and you did point out that there's some EMTs back there. Thank you so much. My kiddo, my 17-year-old, is training to be an EMT, so I'm like, yay, thank you for what you do. We do work with the EMTs in McFarland. So if there is a particular client who we're concerned about, who's maybe had a number of different calls, had a lot of falls, something like that, we can do some collaboration with them to try to minimize risk in that situation. We also have a similar program with the McFarland Police Department for that as well. Down the road, perhaps we can do something with these folks here as well.
Great.
Yeah, prevention is key.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you again for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And thanks for moving me up.
You
Oh my
bet.
gosh, of course.
All right. With that being said, Lucy, I need a little help with where we're at now.
Can we move up 7A?
Yes. I will make a motion to move up 7A to the current agenda placement.
All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Motion passes. We are at 7A. Discussion and possible action. Resolution approving borrowing up to $480,000 from Bank First.
Frank, would you like to? And Brian as well, both of you, by the way, Frank, Brian, Frank. And I'm going to give you your originals just to refer to.
Thank you.
And my apologies, Frank. I thought you were a McFarland person, so my bad. I said there was two people from McFarland, but I guess you're with the banks.
Well, thank you, everybody, for inviting us tonight. My name is Frank McDermott, Vice President of Business Banking with Bank First, our location here in Cambridge. I've been in communication with Brian on the requested proposal, and he has had a chance to review everything of your request, and any questions can be fielded both of us, but Brian has all the information.
Yeah, so if you recall, the village was looking to take out this loan on, and I apologize, I've got a little bit of tickle in my throat, so if I have to cough a few times. But on October 14th, I came and presented some, actually before that, some financing options. Then on October 14th, you got bank responses. And then it was decided to go back to Bank First with a few other questions. That was the board's motion. And we updated the loan amount. So Lucy took that to the bank, and now they've come back with the actual loan documents. It meets all the criteria that I laid out in terms of the financing plan. So this is the $480,000 paid over 3 years. If you recall, that was structured from that October 14th meeting was the last time you saw that. That was structured to be in line with your last year's debt service levy and actually minus $9,000. So your debt service levy is going to go down even with taking out this loan. Understandably, right, if you didn't take out the loan, the levy goes down even more. But certainly we're still able to structure this and advance the principal, pay it off with the debt service levy still moving down, which was intentional, of course. The other reason to pay this off as quickly as possible is this was, for unforeseen budgetary events that were rather significant in terms of events that have already happened in 2025. So that said, right, there's no asset life to this. This is pay off as quickly as possible, but also after presenting the options to the board, that was, I showed it on a 20-year loan first just to kind of explain, legally you can do this for 20 years. Good idea? No. So then we said amortize as fast as possible. That's how we got to the 3 years. The interest rate is 5.5%.
5.5?
on this.
Okay.
Yep. And if you remember when we were comparing all of the loan options, the primary goal was you can always go to the straight trust fund loan program, but the banks usually beat that, which all 3 banks did. And then Bank First even went to the lowest. One of the other banks had kind of a disqualifying proposal because I think there were other terms, if I recall, in terms of a depository relationship, other things like that. So Bank First actually moved their interest rate down to meet that, other banks bid as well. So all in all, this is, the financing package that the village asked for and has the structure that we asked the bank to provide, so.
Brian, as our financial subject matter expert for the village, I just had a couple questions that were fielded to me, and I wanted to present them to you. One of them is there any other option than borrowing money at this stage?
Sure. So we talked about this briefly, again, at one of the October meetings, but in theory, you could borrow from like the utilities, right? Or legally, you can't do it from the TID districts because it's not a TID eligible expense, but legally you could borrow from one of the utilities, put on whatever interest rate you want. There's an opportunity cost, right, of doing that because that money's probably sitting in the bank. In addition, there are restricted funds that you could not take from the utilities. And the PSC regulates the water utility. They generally look down upon doing that and actually ask the village in their last rate order to say you can't take on any more debt in the water utility unless you get permission from us, which is completely rare in the state of Wisconsin for the PSC to do that. They do it all the time for electric utilities. They don't do it so much for water utilities. The fact of the matter was, like, the well project tripled your asset value. It's just a huge project, given the system size. So one, we would have had to get PSC approval just to do an intergovernmental loan. So that probably wouldn't be an option. From the sewer utility, we're obviously going to talk about that in 2 agenda items as well. But there's restricted funds. And then when we talk about repayment, point would be how would the general fund repay it? When it's an inter-fund loan, it doesn't have a general obligation pledge. So you legally cannot levy for it. So you have to figure out other revenues in order to pay back the sewer utility. When you look at those opportunities, this is, with all honesty, since you can't levy for it, right? Are you raising leaf pickup fees to pay for, like, how are we getting the revenues for it? And that's being honest. It may sound facetious, but like, you have to find another revenue to do it.
Yeah, and that kind of correlates with my second question, which is, what kind of revenue streams could we do as a village to bring in more revenue? What legally can we do?
Yeah, so you can
other than taxing.
Yeah, so you can increase, the fees that you charge, but generally those are for a service that you provide. So, communities do garbage, recycling, snow plowing, stormwater, which you already do. There are other elements as well, like a wheel tax in terms of, like, when you have vehicle registrations, you're adding to that charge. When somebody registers their vehicle, you collect a portion of that. For the most part, pretty minimum, right, revenue result. Some communities do impact fees. That pays for growth matters, right? So the idea that you are assessing a fee when you have a building permit issued, so that they're kind of buying into the capacity of, police, fire, roads, whatever it might be. Outside of that, there's the conversion of the public fire protection charge from the tax bill to the water bill. I believe Casey presented on that in workshop 3 a couple meetings ago, or at least he should have. If he didn't,
He did.
if he didn't, let me know. But that was in our presentation for that. So you can convert that off of the tax bill, but you don't have to take a negative levy adjustment for it. So in theory, right, you're building levy capacity. So while it's not technically new revenue, you don't have to decrease another
That's exactly how he explained it.
Yep. So
But those are some of the opportunities, and I can share we kind of have a presentation that we give at professional organizations for government finance, so we can, share with Lucy, and she can disseminate to the board.
Oh, that'd be outstanding.
Yeah. So it goes through all of those in detail.
All right. Those are the only couple questions. Just wanted to know what other avenues we had other than going down this route. And again, I'm appreciative for both of you. It's not an ideal situation, but I think it's a culmination of expenses that have incurred in the past that we have to take care of and nip in the bud now and kind of rip off the Band-Aid. So.
To clarify, all of the expenses were in 2025.
That's right.
So they were in this fiscal year. I did want to share with the trustees, the bank documents were not shared with the packet or emailed to trustees because there is confidential information such as the village's, I guess I'd say it's like our social security number. But if you would like to take a look at the actual documents here, I can send these down. And then please help me out, Brian and Frank, but so these payments, the way that this is set up, will be June 1st, starting June 1st of 2026, correct?
I would let him make sure. Yep.
And so it'll be an annual payment.
Correct.
And then the total amount financed, again, we had stated, is the $480,000. The finance charge for this entire loan, please correct me if I'm wrong, will be the $34,163.13. And is that in total over the 3 years?
Are you talking the interest cost?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And that is on, I'll pass this down for you guys to take a look. I do need this back as well.
Can you just repeat that number, Lucy?
Absolutely, I just gave it to Brian.
Sorry. I know it was like
It's coming.
30. Okay,
34,000.
that's fine.
34,000, it's about $34,200.
Okay.
Brian, what did you say was decreasing?
The debt service levy. So your total levy last year of about 1.8 million has several components, right, tied to it. The general fund and debt service fund are the two primary ones. What you levied for debt service last year as part of the 25 budget and what you're going to levy after approving this loan will still decrease by $9,000 as compared to last year.
But the property tax levy is still going up 18%, correct?
Total levy of the
Yes.
2 million? Yeah,
So
the
I think
total levy
that's
is going
important.
up, the debt service levy is going down.
I think the public needs to understand that because the overall amount is still going up.
Yeah, yep.
So I just think that's important to clarify that it's still going up 18%.
But the debt service part is going down.
Right.
And that's really what we're talking about here with this
Yeah.
I
$480,000.
understand. I'm just,
Okay.
it's not the full picture. So I just wanted to make that clear.
And can we clarify the 18% is for the Cambridge portion of our tax bill only?
Correct.
I'm going to make a motion to approve the resolution to borrow $480,000 from Bank First for a 3-year term at 5.5%.
All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second? I'll second. So we have a motion and a second. Motion from Paula Hollenbeck and second from myself. Discussion.
Sarah, can you keep passing that down
Yes.
so others can
Yes.
take a look at it?
Question for Brian. I know not every number, this is probably the thing, but you've been through our books as much as anybody else.
Could you try again?
Sorry.
Did I say Siri?
No,
Oh, I didn't.
I don't know, my British Siri.
And we're paying this loan back aggressively, 3-year term, correct?
Yep.
Where does this put the village in the next year?
In terms of the
A year from now.
Yeah, the debt service levy will be less, $9,000, and then it actually continues to go down beyond that, kind of as I presented on October 14th. The reason that, it went down even further than 9,000, I don't have that, but can obviously open up the packet from October 14th to see what that was, but we had a more significant decrease for the 27 budget strategically, so in case you needed to borrow in 26 for projects, you know, in 26 or 27, then you would have debt service capacity within your levy, right? So that you could fit in a new debt payment if needed. Because there was, we got sent a capital improvement plan that we understand is not, you know, this is just a plan, not always executed, but if you were to execute that plan and borrow more money in the future, we don't want to just set you exactly level so that you can't fit in new debt service, right? So we had to go down even further in 27 so we could fit in that debt as well. And again, I could open up the packet from the October 14th meeting where I presented that information, because the bank loan, from what we had said to request of the bank, that's the structure that they've used. So.
And that makes sense, thank you.
Yeah.
In your opinion, though, this keeps the village just running at its normal service level. We don't have any more money if we wanted to make you said a capital purchase, right? A new snow truck is coming. We would have no money for that, correct? This is not getting, okay, just want to make sure that's clear, okay.
You have negative fund balance. Holistically, all pockets of government, you have cash, but there's a problem of how do we pay that back? You're kind of setting yourself up for even less cash without a revenue stream to reimburse yourself, whether it's the sewer utility or another fund. You don't have the ability to levy for that. You could cut a complete service to then therefore free up levy capacity to repay that back, but that would be a separate agenda item for you all to discuss of what are you cutting to repay that back. So
That's what we have to discuss for the 2026 budget.
And seriously, there isn't any one service we could cut, unless it's EMS, that would get us out of this hole, because there are multiple services we would have to cut, not
And a
just
lot of
one.
those services are required as somebody, they're just flat out required that we have to do, okay.
Exactly. Because even if we cut all of the money we gave to the library, that would not be enough money to like even us out if we continue to have to fund EMS at the levels, fire and EMS at the levels that we've been funding it this year. And that is what our biggest expense has been. The reason we are so far in the hole is because of fire and EMS.
And that is an optional service that we provide. It's not required.
It is
Fire.
not
Fire is?
an optional service.
It's not
It
optional.
is not an optional service. We are required by state statute to provide access to EMS services, whether that is contracted or local. And we cannot just say we're going to axe our EMS services and let mutual aid cover us. State does not allow that.
Okay.
And fire service is required.
Fire, I
state
thought,
and
I just wanted to be
state
clear,
and-
because I thought
Yes.
I'd heard in one of the other meetings that it was an option to just, and I want to make sure that that's clear to everybody,
And
so.
So
Just clarification on that, Kristen. So we are required to make sure that there's EMS service, but we are not
Access.
required to pay for it.
Well, yes, but I mean, if
So
it's
that is
either,
different.
we are required to provide it. So how are we going to provide it if we don't pay for it, is the question.
Well, we could charge a fee, right? That's one method, right?
Yes,
Okay. But
Yeah.
again, that's really a tax back to
it is, and that's the thing, it's, and I know we've talked about this before, but the one thing that, we talk about this additional $400 and some thousand that we are paying because of our fire and EMS services. This wasn't overspending. This was not, some grandiose capital purchase or anything like that. This is the portion of Oakland's percentage that when they withdrew from the current IGA that we have, they were, help me out, Chris, 49%?
47%.
47%. So that 47% had to be redistributed amongst the other 4 communities still remaining. So this isn't anything that our services are doing as far as doing wrong or, doing above or, going outside of their
Yeah, this isn't an
spending
indictment on the
budgets or
service that
anything.
we're
This
receiving.
isn't, no. This is strictly because we had to make up that portion, our now portion of Oakland's coverage for this contract. So we keep talking about the cost of EMS and the cost of fire and things like that, but we have to understand where this cost came from.
But it really came from when we went from a volunteer EMS service to a professional EMS service.
That's when it started, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
That next
Yes.
year, when we went from volunteer to full on, I believe it was 126% increase.
Yes.
From what we paid, so. Couple other questions, Brian. Is the village in debt $3 million?
Do you mean just pledged by general obligation, all indebtedness?
All indebtedness?
Yeah, because the Safe Drinking Water Fund loan
Yeah.
for the well is, definitely in that amount. I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but
Okay.
yeah.
But I mean, the drinking water loan alone, we have a brand new well number 3.
Yeah.
And that was a huge loan that we knew we were going to have to take out. The DNR required us to build out well number 3.
We had no
We've been
choice.
limping along on basically a well and a half for a lot of years. And then the DNR required us to build out well number 3. So it wasn't like we had a choice.
When were we approached about, just curious, about well number 3 by the DNR? First approach.
Do you have an answer to that question?
Years ago, I don't know the exact date.
I don't know either, because I wasn't on the Water and Sewer Board at the time, but
Wasn't this discussed like years and years ago, that they were giving us a projected, you need to replace your well in X amount of years?
sure.
Okay.
But you don't save up money
No, no, no,
for,
no.
right.
No, what I'm saying is the unfortunate side is we were at a point where we were forced to do this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that is a true statement.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we, and that's why, Steve?
You take comment from public? So we voluntarily were looking at doing this 10 years ago, and we had our current engineers, Town and Country, do an estimate, and it was about 2.5 million. And we looked at what that would do to the rate payers and decided it was unacceptable, so we put that plan aside. But of course, things just kick it down the road, it gets more expensive. And then it came to the point where the DNR said, yes, it's no longer optional, you have to do it. So that's where we're at.
So in hindsight,
Hindsight's 20/20. Maybe
Exactly.
we should have bit the bullet back then.
Right.
But we would have had basically the same problem.
right, okay. And that's kind of just, I needed some
And
clarification
that
on
could
that.
have been, instead of borrowed, could have been charged back to the water, the people consuming, right? But that would have been a huge impact, right?
But it is. I mean,
60.
it is being, I mean, it's the ratepayers who are paying off that bill.
Okay,
Our
so that should be
taxpayers-
clear that that $3 million over
taxpayers-
debt is already being repaid out of.
Out of the ratepayers who pay the
Correct.
water bill.
Okay.
The taxpayers are not paying the water
That part of it.
loan.
Okay.
Correct.
There.
So
It's good
Brian,
to clear
for
that.
clarification, I think for Chris, what is the total debt for
Hey, you
just
guys,
the,
can you please stop, because it's getting
Yeah, we
difficult.
need
It's
some
getting
decorum
difficult.
here.
It's getting
He-
difficult for us to hear when you guys are talking.
We'll have another public
He was
comment.
asked because he is part of the water and sewer, and it was a specific question about water and sewer.
All right.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm asking you to please refrain from talking so that we can hear up here, please.
I would also like a chance to talk, please.
Go ahead.
Oh, I
Lucy,
thought
you had
someone was finishing
Oh,
asking a
Lucy was.
question.
Brian, so for the village's overall debt for just the village, excluding water and sewer, which again, we clarified, the ratepayers are assisting in paying back those loans, what is the total debt that the village has.
That you have outstanding for general
Yes.
obligation loans. I believe that's in part of the loan docs, is that?
I'm gonna put you on the spot.
I'm
Yeah, no,
sorry.
I just don't,
I just wanted to separate the, from,
I can,
As long as I know it's less than 3 million.
There is an aggregate.
yeah.
There was an amount of 2.9 million in one of the documents that they gave us. I have a picture of it.
Sarah, did you take pictures of the documents? There's confidential information.
No, no,
on-
no, not what you just passed around. No, one of the packets they presented
Oh.
a while ago. No, no, no.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, that's aggregate though. That's all of it, so it doesn't say. I can pull it up on my computer too as we go as well.
That's okay, Brian. I just want
Yeah,
to,
that,
I
that
just
3
want a
million number on the loan
clarification.
doc is aggregate, so that's
Yes.
not just GEO, that's including the total, the water loan and as well.
And that's okay. I just want a clarification because there's all sorts of false information.
Yeah, and
being
the
s- being-
October 14th packet has it in there
Okay,
too.
and,
So, again,
And
reference
that's
that.
why I just want to try to,
Yep.
to correct the false information that's being spread out there. It's Sarah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I think something that we are really overlooking is our constituents. We have had countless people come to tell us to not take out this loan. We put out a survey online asking people what they would like cut. We haven't even touched on that since Kristen put it out. I feel like we are completely disregarding what our constituents are saying, and we are here to represent our constituents. That's our job. I haven't heard one person come to the microphone and say, yes, take out this loan.
So here's the only issue, Sarah, that I want to say. That's valid for next year's budget.
We said that
But
last
for
year.
this,
We said
no,
that last
actually, we
year.
didn't say that last year.
Well, we said a one-time
So-
loan
so-
of 200,000. We did say
This-
that. You said that, actually.
Never mind, you don't want to hear what I have to say.
Go
so I'll
ahead.
stop.
Go ahead. Did you say that last year? You said a one-time loan, and here we are, taking out more than double.
Because we knew we were going to have to take out a loan for fire and EMS because we didn't know what that amount was going to be.
I feel like our public comments that people are spending their time, we're not listening to what our constituents are
We're
saying.
listening to them, Sarah. But the problem is we have obligations. We have a contract with fire and EMS. We have to pay that bill. If we don't take out this loan, we do not have the money to pay that bill. If we don't pay that bill for every day we're late,
It's 18%.
for every day we're late, it's an 18% charge.
I do
The
understand
Village
that.
of Cambridge cannot incur that kind of a liability. So for this year, I don't see a way that we cannot pay that bill. We are receiving a service from Fire and EMS. We have to pay them for the service that they are giving us. Unfortunately, it was not budgeted for appropriately in 2025, so we have to take out a loan in 2025 to pay for it.
And then there was the retirement that was not planned for. That came on suddenly. And there was the upgrade of our computer systems that we had to take care of as well. So,
I just don't want to default.
We
you know,
have
we're,
not sat one time as a board, since I've been on the board, we have not sat to actually look at trying to make cuts. We've brushed it aside. We haven't actually looked at it. Our federal government just had to do that. And guess what? They figured it out after a long time.
Sarah,
We
I
have
will
to
tell
do the
you,
hard work
we
that no
did-
one is doing.
We did the hard work when we set up the, Sarah, you were not on the board.
Yeah.
We did the hard work when we set up the 2025 budget. We went line by line by line by line. Yes, we did.
Chris, can you please?
yeah, can we
You
stop
guys,
with this,
I
please?
was on that committee. You didn't come to any of the committee meetings.
I sure did.
All right.
I went.
Let's keep your
We
comments.
went line by line by line by line. We cut everywhere we could cut.
We have not
cut-
discussed cutting that I've brought up a couple of
Well,
times.
we're not going to cut the police department because we have a contract, number one.
There's no
and
one,
number
we
two,
can
I
change a
don't
contract.
I don't.
We have to look at these things.
It's two different things. Now, this loan is we're taking care of 2025. The next audit and finance meeting we have, we are going to look at each line item, each one, and go through and say, do we need this much salt for the village? Do we need the flowers on Main Street? This is what's coming up in the next audit and finance meeting.
The one
Two
you
separate
changed
ones.
the schedule so that I can't be there?
Well, we have it for both days.
The
Yeah.
first one that I specifically said I
Not
could not
everything
come
is a
to.
conspiracy, Sarah, okay? Not everything's a
We
conspiracy.
agreed on a date, just so the public is aware. We agreed on a date a month ago, and I don't know who changed the date, but conveniently the date it was changed to was when I could not could not attend. And I am the only one raising concerns about this.
No, you're
Sarah,
not.
There's
We're all
agendas for
concerned.
both dates
There-
out there,
the-
the 13th and the 17th.
The meeting that we had scheduled in October that was canceled, I asked to have that canceled because there was we had an eighth of the information that we needed to be able to go through and look at. It is not beneficial, it was not, in my opinion, beneficial to go through and look at and trying to make these slashes and these changes and things like that. We didn't have the water and sewer budget. We didn't have the public works budget. We don't have the general fund budget.
Clarification, we did have public works,
My
water
apologies.
sewer separate. It's
My
not part of the
apologies.
general fund.
Okay.
The fire and EMS was what was missing,
Mhm.
which that component is such a big factor that myself and staff did public works, admin, all of the other areas except for water sewer. And so Kristen did state and went to the chair, who is Chris, because without more of an idea of fire and EMS, it wouldn't be productive because we could move things around, but until we have a better plan for fire and EMS, we could go and do this every day until that's finalized. So
That was not communicated. That was not communicated.
that was canceled. I was not here. The
I
cl-
went to Yessie
The clerk
and
sent out an
asked
email
to
and
have it.
referred any questions to Chris. I was not even here when that happened. Again, I prepared line by line budget. And so nothing is, I just want to clarify, nothing's being hid, nothing's being undermined. I am just following the chairs and the trustees' direction. And it does make sense if fire and EMS has no idea if we're going to be at 300,000, 600,000. How do we cut and did as much as we could from a staff perspective. But right now, I think if you look at the agenda, because we're using the same agenda from that cancel meeting, partly because I don't have time to put more things, and that's Monday. I'll have more. I'll have your things that you included. But I want to say fire and EMS is like 270,000 or something like that, which isn't realistic. But
So do
until
we
I
have-
Placeholder.
it's
Do
just
we
a
have that number
placeholder.
yet or not?
That's part of what tomorrow night's meeting is because we don't know the direction that we've all decided to go. And that's a huge component of our budget. So we need to, it makes, I personally feel it makes more sense to have all of the components to look at the same time. And then we know what, otherwise.
It's hard to cut and slash when you don't know if you are working with 300,000 or 600,000. So it's not worth having a meeting if you don't know what that component is. So.
You know how much to borrow then?
So.
We're covering for this year borrowing, not for next year. This 480,000 is what's covering our negative balance for this year.
Calendar year, just to make sure?
Yes.
Yes.
And we borrowed 200 at the end of last year also.
That was paid off in the very beginning of February. Just so you know.
Right. The village
Alright.
went from 1.2 million of surplus to now, here we are, and there is just no
Okay, but
end in
that,
sight.
and I know, Brian, you could probably attest to some of that. That wasn't, that there were explanations for that.
Which
Doesn't
have
make
all
it
been
right.
shared and covered.
You're right, it doesn't make it right, but it wasn't nefarious, it wasn't misappropriated, it wasn't, you know, we keep getting these terms thrown around like we're living high on the hog here, and
We're paying the same taxes.
we're paying the same taxes, we're paying the same water bills, we're paying all the same things here. So any decision that we make tonight affects all of us,
Us too.
you know, and it's these, Brian explained to us that over the last X amount of years, 3 plus years, we have budgeted at a deficit. That is going to catch up with us. It has caught up with us. So we don't borrow, cover the costs that we have for this year. We go into next year in a negative, and another year in a negative, and we end up way farther in the hole.
And again, had previous boards borrowed for capital projects instead of using a reserve fund, we would still have that $1.2 million. So the problem is that past boards have been so reluctant to borrow money when borrowing money was the right thing to do. Because when we have a piece of equipment fail, we have to replace that piece of, and when your water heater fails in your house, you gotta replace it. When we had a flood down here in this Amundsen Center room, and we had black mold everywhere, we had to remediate that. When, you know, when we have things broken, we have to fix them, and those are capital expenditures. When my roof goes, sometimes I have to take out a loan to replace the roof on my house. Those are the things that are capital expenditures that we should be taking out loans for. Instead, previous boards were choosing to use reserve dollars.
Brian, can a municipality fund all of their expenses strictly on taxes and fees alone?
That's primarily how you fund it. Outside of, in the state of Wisconsin, under levy limits, right, you only get whatever you levied last year net of debt, plus net new construction, right, which if you don't grow in a year, that could literally be zero. One of the first workshops in the financial management plan talked about the buying power of net new construction. For the village, a lot of times it's like you only get an additional $18,000. If you have to go replace a piece of equipment that's $300,000, right, you can't cover that with that levy increase. Therefore, you see a lot of municipalities, capital-wise, have to borrow. This is 100% why the League of Wisconsin Municipalities lobbied for Act 12 a couple of years ago, so that we would get a penny of the sales tax. And when I say we say, I'm saying local municipalities. I understand I work for a private firm, but we only represent local municipalities. So we're obviously sitting there being like, please, anything we'll take. So yes, to the operating expenses, we should not be borrowing for this. We should have cash on hand to pay for big problems. Like this is a big problem.
Yeah.
You should have cash to pay for this big of a problem, though, because it isn't 100% of your budget, right? It's not $1 million. It's like a quarter of your budget. So we always, when we talked about the, I think it was in workshop 2, general fund balances, you know, Government Finance Officers Association and others kind of recommend 25% of your expenditures at minimum to have cash on hand for, so you don't have to borrow for situations like this. We are where we are. I mean, you guys have done a good job explaining it. We haven't been involved in all of those discussions until
just recently.
Situations like this, and this is the first time we've done a financial management plan for the village.
So how do we alleviate it for next year?
Well, one, next year's budget, at least in the document that, you know, I just updated because I have that running Excel document that I'm sending to Lucy, you're able to cover all of your costs. In terms of the ability to plan for unforeseen events, that would be adding a contingency expense. I've got no direction in the 4 meetings I've been to that there's an allowance for additional expenditures, right? Not to mention you're at levy capacity. The opportunities available there, if you, like the public fire protection from the tax bill to the water bill, I talk about 3 times a day this time of year with municipalities. That went from 45% of municipalities doing it on the water bill to now 70% over the last 3 years alone. So, and that's because you don't have to take that negative levy adjustment. So for the village, I forget off the top of my head.
265,
Yeah, I
I
was
want
gonna
to say.
say, I think it's 246 or 265, so
Yeah.
265.
So that would open, that fee alone would open up $265,000 on our levy
On your
limit?
general fund expense budget goes to 0. Couldn't recommend that enough. You get 5 years to do it without having to do the fund full conventional rate case, which all staff that were helping me through that are not here to explain how little fun that is and how much we had to beg the PSC to negotiate that rate adjustment down. So as much as we can avoid having to do another conventional rate case and changing that outside of it, I would recommend doing so within the next 5 years.
Within the next 5 years?
Yeah.
So today's, so we've got like another 4 years that we can make that change?
Yeah, I think, well, it might be less because I think the rates went into effect in '24, if I'm correct.
So-
Like March '24,
Okay, so we've got 3 more years. we can
March
make that
29,
change.
yeah.
Because I'll tell you right now,
Yeah.
the $22 more on a month on everybody's
Right.
water bill after the big change we just had
Right.
is untenable.
You don't have to change it in full either. We have communities that'll change it in tranches, right? So like 20%, 20%, 20% for those 5 years. 10% 1 year, 30% the next year, right? I mean, do anything to alleviate the general fund budget burden would be my recommendation. You pick the number, I mean, and we can get it done.
All right.
And
other
you
questions?
said that we have enough for next year to cover expenses? Didn't you, wasn't that the first thing you said?
Yeah, in terms of your operating budget
Right.
that we have that I sent to Lucy, yes. You
But
have,
how do we know that if we don't have fire and EMS in there?
I was gonna say, but the dollar amount they're using for fire
Right.
EMS is based on, I think, 2024's year, which was
2024, so it's-
$270,000,
which-
which is where we got into trouble this year, because we were basing it on 2024's number.
So we don't know if we have
I'm
enough
saying, yeah,
yet
all
for
the
next year.
information
At this-
presented
yeah.
to me as
Yeah.
of today,
Sure.
yes.
I just needed to
You have a
understand
balanced
that. Thank
budget, yep.
But it's pretty much that's lean. It's not a lot of, there's not,
It sounds like you have a inflationary pressure upcoming.
I'm guessing
Yeah,
there
yeah.
probably will be. Okay.
Yeah.
And we did not get a snow truck this past
We
year.
did not.
We didn't have any capital expense. There was no loan to take out for it, right? We're gonna try and pay it out of general fund again, right? And then we realized, how can we pay everything out of general fund? But in the future, snow truck is something the town needs to plow snow, right? So we're gonna need to do that. What you're saying is that should be taking out loans for things like those items, correct?
The asset lives for a certain amount of time, pending, you know, the interest costs and the need, right? You always want to weigh those, but unless you have the levy authority for it, which there is no exclusion for a capital piece of equipment, there's oddly an exclusion for debt. So yes, the legislature leads you to issue debt to raise for capital, and that's the unfortunate circumstance of the rules in which you operate in terms of levying for that outside of other fees or other elements like that. But if you're charging an abundance of other fees, dog licenses, somebody's gonna beg the question, like, why do we need that high of a fee for that if it's actually paying for a snowplow, right? So,
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
yep.
All right. Any more questions for Frank Brown? All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Blackwood,
Yes.
Cricklow,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Schultz,
No.
Hollenbeck,
Yes.
Trendell,
Yes.
Bruning.
Yes. All right, motion passes.
Okay, Chris, we have to,
Sign some
we,
paperwork.
yep, we'll sign so Frank can take it.
Do we want to take a 5-minute recess?
Yeah, we'll
Sorry.
And then,
Morning does resume, discussions may continue.
All right, thank you so much. And,
so let me help you, Chris. Give me a second to bring up the,
yeah,
so we are going to move
to 7B.
the rate case study.
No, 7C. 7C.
Okay.
Do we, oh, wait a minute. We skipped over committee reports and.
Yeah, we
We'll
got to
come
come back to all of
We'll
that.
come
but
back.
I think we're
We'll
trying
come
to get
back.
Brian out of here.
Oh, we'll
Yeah.
get Brian out of here.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that.
So, I'll make a motion to move
Thought he
item
was done.
7C, discussion of possible action regarding, action on Rochdale regionalization rate case study up to current discussion.
And I will second. All those in favor of moving this up, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Brian, you're, got the hot seat again.
So you all should have the packet that I handed out.
Yeah, Brian, do you mind if I give just a little background?
Yeah, go for it,
Okay.
yep.
So we, just to remind everybody of the background, we are looking at doing a regionalization for the sewer line with Rockdale. So that Rockdale will have a forced main that comes and meets up into our main, and it goes down to the lift station, and then it'll go through, like, it looks like the sewage is coming from Cambridge. So the COWC will be charging Cambridge for all of that additional stuff that's coming through. So we need to figure out what is the right rate to charge Rockdale for all the sewage that they're sending through the system, plus get with an understanding of if there's additional burden on our infrastructure that they might be, to make sure that we're charging appropriately, that we are not getting ourselves in a hole like we often do when we're trying to be good neighbors.
Yeah, I think that's a great explanation.
Thank you.
Yeah, right, now you.
The,
is
the
there-
other, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have some extra, I didn't know you were bringing. I have some extra copies if anybody would like one. There you go.
And I did ask, Steve is on the Water and Sewer Board, and so I would ask that if he's got questions, he can ask those in that capacity, because we were not able to review this either before.
I have some more, hang on.
From Water and Sewer hasn't been able to review this yet. And
Just one?
and so if Steve has questions, if we can allow him to be included in the
Yeah,
discussion.
we will facilitate any questions for Steve.
Okay, thank you.
Just, oh, go ahead, sorry.
No,
Should this go before water and sewer before, I'm just saying because we just.
From a timing perspective,
I know that-
the Water and Sewer Board is okay, knowing things may have to come to the village board first.
Okay. fair enough.
Or only, and so we did open up and let all Water and Sewer know if they wanted to have a say, to make sure they were coming to these meetings.
Okay,
And
fair,
then
thank you.
I'd also point a clarification, the village board actually proceeds, or please correct my,
yeah.
how I'm verbalizing this. The village board trumps basically the water sewer committee,
True.
because.
Yep,
and
but
it-
with their expertise, yeah, I just,
Yeah.
they had- but fair
That
enough, thank
wasn't
you.
the way I wanted to work, please, Neil.
Yeah, so, correct. Legally, to like change rates, the board has to adopt that. The other thing is, this, I didn't bring a resolution in front of you. This is the start, right? And then the goal would be adopt a resolution at your next meeting, which if Water and Sewer have a meeting in between that, they're welcome to discuss it, certainly. So just, you don't have a prepared resolution for this. This is to,
Information.
yeah, to kind of present it. And understanding you're getting it for the first time, but we're getting information faster than the sewer flows. So
Legitimate.
it's been a fun exercise. That said, the other background piece of information is the last time we did do a cost of service study for the village. It was, I believe, in 2019. Could have been 2018 if I just have
I
that.
have a note from that last board meeting, it was 2017.
2017.
I was just going to look to make sure I knew what this
Yep.
was regarding.
So
yeah,
that's the last time we looked at it like this. You may have done inflationary adjustments or other adjustments since then. Excuse me. The rate schedule that I got sent didn't have like a date on it, but I believe from what I could find researching items, it may have been around 2021, or it wasn't recently, unless somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. But there's been a gap in time, right, that sewer rates have been adjusted.
The water rate went up.
No, but sewer rates. We're talking specifically sewer rates. We haven't increased those for a couple of few years. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 2021, and I was talking with the utility clerk. That's what she thought. So part of this, like, I don't even want to get into the tables, right? Okay. Thinking about utilities, they're experiencing the same problems as any utility does, and other funds of government do, right? There's inflationary pressures. Then there's also this added new user, as Paula explained, right? So you're getting a new user. The assets that they're going to use, though, they don't have any that are explicit to them that run costs to the village. And what I mean by that is, the pipe and where they connect, it's my understanding that the agreement has it where the village of Rockdale will be responsible for paying that cost. Therefore, they're an outside user in name only, right? They use the system just like every other user in terms of they send flow that goes through your collector system and then goes to the Cambridge, Oakland wastewater, treatment plant. So just kind of wanted to clarify that. There's like a few notes in here where it talks about outside users. That also exists for what I think, based off the information that I've been given. There's another 3-inch outside user that I think is it's like Thompson Correctional or something like that. So again, we're treating Rockdale similar to that, right? Because there's no, in that scenario as well, there's no exclusive assets that they use that the village is responsible for paying. So when you do a cost of service study, you would say, well, they need to pay the normal rate because they're sending their stuff through your whole system, plus something extra because they use something that nobody else uses. But in Rockdale and this Thompson Correctional Facility, it doesn't work like that. They're just called outside users. Mm-hmm. It's more in name only. So I did want to kind of clarify that. And so I would say I can go through these tables, but I do kind of want to just keep the message simple. Mm-hmm. They're adding usage to your system, but it's kind of a pass-through rate problem because you get charged more by Cambridge, Oakland Wastewater Commission, right? The more you use and send to them, the more you get charged by them. Mm-hmm. So in theory, right, whatever additional usage they add, the rates should just be adjusted for that. So they're going to impact, at minimum probably like $30,000. So right, the goal would be to then you're just passing that on. So how we're doing that in this case is the Village of Rockdale is going to be treated as kind of a 3-inch customer based off of the amount of flow that they send for their fixed charge, and then they're going to be charged a volumetric rate same as everybody else. So that's kind of hard to just like point to directly. I just kind of wanted to contextualize that. So if you do kind of want to see where the rates go, that's table 6. And what you're looking at there, how the village charges for sewer, there's a fixed quarterly charge and then a volumetric rate. So this is quite common. This is kind of no different than the water utility charges, where you have allocated to you, which are on the previous tables, a fixed portion of your costs on an annual basis that you need to recover, and so you have a fixed charge from your users to recover that. And then a volumetric rate that should cover kind of the variable costs within your system. Currently, for example, a residential customer is typically a 5/8 or a 3/4 inch meter, which gets charged $31.50 fixed on a quarterly basis. Then if you kind of go halfway down on table 6, that volumetric rate is $15.93 per 1,000 gallons used in a quarter. I'm going to go to a table soon where I show you what that translates to for like an example customer, but I'm just kind of explaining how the charges work. And then as I explained, like if you go down a little bit past that volumetric rate, the outside users, and that's where I have that note on them that it's in name only, because when we do a cost of service study, if they did have assets allocated to them solely, I would actually have an outside user rate that they would pay regular rate plus, essentially. But their rate is going to be the same volumetric rate, similar to kind of that Thompson Correctional, and then they're paying that 3-inch. So for example, that's currently a 3-inch quarterly rate is $339.15 per quarter. They would just be charged that. The original agreement that was sent to me when it was just kind of openly asked, what's your opinion, had them paying the 5/8 inch rate. So I just kind of want to say that in talking with the MSA gentleman who's working for the village, and I'm the financial advisor working for the village, this agreement needs to have like these charges in it for a fairness sake in terms of the cost of study completed. So that's kind of the effort that we're going for here, is to say what's fair to charge them based off of their impact to the system. But it doesn't, how your system's set up, it doesn't automatically mean that there's kind of cost efficiencies when you add a user, because they're just adding usage that you're getting charged for. So again, just kind of want to make that clear.
Can you explain on the table 6 sewer 4,000, because it looks like the only one that you're proposing to go down?
Sure. That one, for instance, is, and again, haven't gotten a clear answer on this from the billing clerk, but it's my understanding that that may be for like an unmetered component. There's nothing that directly links to your ordinance, so I've kind of asked, like, you may need to dive into that deeper, but essentially they don't have like a meter where we use an equivalent unit to attach a like a multiplier, right, to their rate. So an equivalent unit, you basically say our base user is a 5/8 inch meter. Everybody who's a higher meter creates inherent demand on the system, so they have a force multiplier, right? On 1 is your base rate for the 5/8 inch meter, and then, for example, 1 inch is like 2.5, 1.5 inch is 3.5, right? They get added components in terms of demand on the system. That one, I don't have any context to kind of say what they should be. So right now I'm kind of leaving that, and I calculated that based off of how they're charged currently on a allocation, right, in terms of the base charge against them, and then cause that same, calculation there. It just kind of happened to go down. In all reality, it's one customer, I believe. And
that was what I was going to ask. How many customers are?
Yeah,
is it just
one
like a
customer.
one-off, or is it a lot of customers? Or?
And one of my recommendations, kind of to move it to rate resolution, would be any instance where you see a scenario like that, you actually, in the proposed column, would just have that equal the current. I wasn't willing to do that yet because I didn't have all kind of the facts on that one. But it should not go down, to answer your question.
Thank you.
So, but that's one where I've been in limbo a little bit.
And Brian, just to let you know that I'll be filling in as you going forward, so I'll do some digging, and I did have that conversation. And
we just
unsure.
I just kind of think
I don't know how where I'm going to find that information per se.
The distillery, Chris was asking, could that be?
Customers.
Yeah, this sewer 4,000. So maybe what I'll do is we can send. There's a billing report that'll kind of show the data without showing who they are for confidentiality.
Yeah.
And I think I'll probably attach that, you know, to when we come with the rate resolution. But that would be the only way that somebody might figure it out. Otherwise, if you guys want to come into the office and, you know, ask for a bill for them, that might help you. But we were kind of struggling to figure out why they get charged less. That's I'm trying to solve for equitable rates under the rate-making practices provided by the American Waterworks Association.
Yeah.
And I don't have the data to say what's equitable is kind of where
Okay.
I'm going. And again, it's like one user, so I'm not.
It looks like there's 9 units on that table 8, so does that sound about right?
Oh, maybe the without.
I was looking for
base.
how much
Yeah.
it,
On table 7,
Yeah.
just the next page shows it too.
Right. So I would just
Those
say
units.
yes, you're right, table 7. yeah.
we'd kind of have to figure out why they're
Okay.
charged to kind of say, but I would recommend a rate decrease at
My
the
other
bottom
thing
line
is, the base rate is a quarterly charge, because our bills are the same every month. And I would think if it was only a quarterly charge, I'd see every.
These are monthly.
These are monthly.
monthly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I didn't think I was, thank you, Steve, for confirming.
Sure.
Because, yeah, those are monthly charges.
Okay. Just got the table header wrong. Apologize for
Okay,
that.
perfect
Yep.
then.
I mean, a lot of communities are quarterly, but we're monthly.
Yep,
Sure.
we're monthly.
Excuse me. Then the other one would be table 9. And again, you'd probably just want to reduce the usage to get to monthly usage to kind of say, but at the end of the day, based off of how much you use, you're going to have the same percentage. So also how this was designed, if you look at the far right, percent change to a bill, we have the residential, or basically what it would be, it doesn't matter the customer class, it's the base rate is going to have the lowest adjustment to this. So it would be a 3% on a monthly bill, just less usage, so the dollar amounts would go down. But understand there, what we saw in, you know, in terms of the rate updates and how your system costs have gone, you kind of need to uptick the force multiplier on the higher meter sizes. And so those with higher meter sizes should be paying a higher rate based off of the costs that you get from Cambridge, Oakland specifically, and the flow demand charges that you have from them, as well as, you know, BOD, suspended solids, and your phosphorus. So, excuse me. That's why you'll see as you kind of go down some of the other sample customers, multifamily, commercial, we use higher meter sizes. You can kind of see how they're impacted, and then, you know, based off of use, how that looks. But the goal here was identifying that the utility kind of as a whole, not even without Rockdale joining, needs like a 3-4% adjustment in revenues. We're having the residential class, primarily those with 5/8 and 3/4 inch meters, being impacted the least due to a fairness, you know, issue in updating this cost of service study. Anything trying to turn that dial up, we start to get to kind of a force multiplier equation that would be much higher than kind of the PSC and the American Waterworks Association standards. So I'll just kind of point you to that back on table 2, I believe it is. On the bottom half of that, you look at an equivalency ratio in the second column. So this is the bottom half of table 2, second column, that says equivalency ratio. We start at the PSC standard that they use when they derive water rates. We look at your current charges, and then we look at the cost causality and how we're allocating those costs. And that's where we kind of turn the dial. So all is to say, we turn this dial up a little bit for all of those factors that we saw. So if you're kind of wondering what's that force multiplier, that's the equivalency ratio there. And then for the most part, it does get to like just kind of comparing where your current allocation, you know, if you were to take $31.50 fixed charge you know, as your base, and divide that out by the other ones. We try to get to either equal or higher, right? So that's kind of what we're doing there. If kind of wanted to understand when it's going to be a little higher of an increase, closer to 4% for a higher meter, that's how that's happening. So just kind of wanted to explain that, but I will change this as well for the monthly for both table 6 and table 9, and then kind of decrease, you know, obviously a monthly bill's not 10,000 gallons of use, probably more closer to 4,000 or 3,000 gallons. So we can change that as well.
And this includes, so you based it on, the study hasn't been done since 2017, or a time, right?
Yep.
And then Rockdale coming on board.
Correct.
Right? And so that's all incorporated. So if Rockdale was allowed to come on board, they would be paying the proposed rate along that line. Okay. Okay, thank you.
But that proposed rate is similar to Thompson.
Yeah, it's like a 3-inch shift. You're talking with the engineer.
Yep.
We felt that was fair in terms of their impact on the system and how much they use and their flow data that we had. So.
And in the regionalization contract that we're working out with Rockdale, we were waiting for both the base rate recommendation and then, you know, the ratepayer recommendation to include that into that document.
So they'd know what the rates they're gonna have.
Absolutely, they're
Okay,
going to know
perfect.
exactly
Yep.
what their rate is.
Sounds
yep.
good.
And again, I think their assumption was that they were going to come in at a 5/8 inch, and I would agree with you. I don't think the Water and Sewer Board thought that was appropriate.
No, you'd almost have to add up all the residents.
Right, yeah, right.
Right.
Exactly,
And
so.
yeah, we kind of took it based off of their flow data
Yep.
that their engineer sent us. So and you already have a similar customer than this.
Yep.
So on an equitability standpoint, which is like we're using AWWA M1 standards for this, which is the generally accepted rate making practice the PSC uses. It would be hard to argue against anything else, honest, higher or lower, in my opinion.
Okay.
You know, I could see an argument for if you want to do on an ERU basis, but then it's like, I would almost argue you got to do the same, you got to change all the other rates on how you're charging that way as well. So you charge based off meter size, you just kind of got to think of them that way.
Yep.
So.
Steve, you want to come on up here so from a water and sewer standpoint?
I follow the reasoning, and it seems very logical. However, doesn't the correctional institution go directly to the wastewater treatment plant?
I haven't been told that.
I'm pretty sure it does. I don't think
Not through a lift station.
It doesn't go through our main lift station.
No.
So our concern is that, not that it'll be a big difference, but there is more wear and tear on our main lift station and our force main up to the treatment plant, COWC, from Rockdale versus the correctional. So it's really not apples to apples. There's a little difference there. So we're concerned about, increases wear and tear on our lift station and our force main and the little bit of sewer, that gravity sewer that comes, that once Rockdale hits, it comes through. Whereas the Correctional Institute have their own force main that goes directly to the treatment plant. So like I said, not a huge difference, but I see room you could argue that it'd be 1% or 2% higher for Rockdale.
I guess my question would be, hearing that, why is Cambridge charging them? What system, what part of your system are they using then?
None. It's, I don't know if do we maintain, that's a good question. Do we maintain that whole line, or, but they're treating, COWC is treating the waste, so, and that's getting charged to Cambridge. So, I don't know at what point.
If they have their own line, why is it getting charged?
Well, but it's metered, so it has to come in somewhere, but it does, I don't think it goes through our, I'm sure it doesn't go through our.
So, I mean,
Our lift
Brian
station.
had a good point. If it's just going straight there, why don't they have an agreement with COWC? Why is Cambridge the middle person at all?
And if it's because we're maintaining the main that they're using, the forced main or whatever that's going there, then that explains
Right,
why we're charging, why they're going through Cambridge.
right.
But if they're responsible for their own line to get to the COWC, then why are we charging?
That needs to be a separate customer.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
but it gets metered as Cambridge, so somewhere it's coming into, they're not metered separate at COWC. So
Right.
it's coming
They
into the
have to use
it's
your
coming into
system.
the Cambridge
Yeah.
system
Okay, then they have to
somewhere.
be using our system somewhere, Steve.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't know exactly where it's coming in.
Okay.
And I don't think it comes to our main lift station. Then why would it come all the way down
No,
to there
it
just to
doesn't.
be pumped back up?
It goes
So-
directly there.
Yeah, I think it goes.
Well, in that case, then you could almost argue Thompson Correctional should go, their charge should go down. Like, I would treat them hearing that then as like an outside user where they're not using your full system, right, in theory. But one could argue that that could, you know, little pieces of the town all do that, but it's kind of general availability. So I just kind of like, if you guys provide some further context to that, that they either shouldn't be charged by Cambridge or they do go through the system, I would say then they're part of your regular users, and if anything, they should be charged less, not
And-
not
Rockdale's,
more.
not Rockdale more, right?
Well,
And-
the difference would be if it goes through our lift station.
Yeah, then
But-
if they don't, then I would say they should actually be treated as an outside user, and not using, you know, the majority of your system, if you will, under like a fairness and equitability standpoint, so.
If you look at the overall system, though, we have a lift station for the winery development, and it then pumps to the main lift station. So you could argue that those people have a higher demand on our system
Right.
than the general community. So, I mean, we
That's
just-
what I'm
we
saying
make-
is
we
like
make it
that's-
equitable.
Yeah, that's,
So,
yeah.
Because it's going through two.
Yeah, it's going through two lift stations,
Yeah.
so there's more wear and tear there, right? So, I mean, we're not drawing that line. So in this case, like I said, this is probably logical and, you know, it looks like we could probably live with it. But I would like to check to see, you know, where the correctional institute
So-
comes into the system.
What is the size of the main of their main that's connecting to us?
I
Correctional, 3.
No, not the correctional. Rockdale. What's the size that's going to connect us?
The force, well, but
The
it's
force main.
it's a force main though, 3-inch, and I don't know if
3 inch.
Yeah, I think it's 3 inches, yeah.
3-inch.
So-
But, and I don't know what size it is from the correctional. It must be a 3-inch as well.
But Steve, how is there? We have 19 3-inch customers in Cambridge.
But those are gravity lines, not a force, not a force main.
It's
And Rockdale's is
it's
gonna be
really
a
only
force main.
forced up to here, and then it's gravity down to the lift
Well,
station.
that's an 8-inch then from there.
Right. So it's just forced up to here, and then it's gravity down to there. So it's really no different than any of the other gravities. Once it hits that main, it's no different than any of the gravities going down there.
True. But it's how many users, it's not just one.
Yeah, I understand the apples to oranges argument, because you're talking about the example that's used, the Thompson Correctional not utilizing a lift station and not having to utilize everything that goes with having to maintain that lift station, which Rockdale will have to do. So we have to probably go have our water superintendent see where that's metered out at Thompson, see where that's metered, and then.
But then the argument would be, and I'm thinking the argument would be that we should lower what we're charging Thompson Correctional Institute,
right now
not
they're-
raise what we're
Yeah.
asking. And Steve, it doesn't matter that, I mean, in a sense, it doesn't matter that there are a number of customers in Rockdale, for Rockdale. We're getting it from one spot in Rockdale. We're getting it from the treatment plant.
Right, as a force main, not a gravity. This
Right.
This is a 3-inch gravity, not a 3-inch. Well, actually, it's a 3-inch water line, right, is what you're talking. Our rates are these, when you look at the 5/8.
That's just a meter size.
These are
Yeah,
meter
just
size
meter
on
size.
your water line. It's not the size of your actual sewer.
Right.
So,
Here's the
I
point:
suppose
is
it's
they're-
fairly equivalent, but that's
all the customers in the system right now are treated as they're using the full system, right? We haven't excluded anybody. One, because Thompson Correctional hasn't been historically, so that would almost, I would call that news to me. But if that exists, then their rate should go down. We would treat them as not using your entire system. And then Rockdale should pay the entire system, is our understanding in talking with your engineer.
Right.
Yep.
And not an adder on top of that, because they're maintaining to get to your, all the assets to get to your system.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So that to
Okay.
simplify it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good
I guess I
clarification.
would go with
Yeah.
that logic.
Okay,
Yeah. I'm going off what Paula, you were saying, is we don't want to get in a situation where
I know.
we're being good neighbors and in the end it's going to cost
And then in
us.
the end, it's gonna cost us, 'cause
Yeah.
we're famous for, Cambridge is famous for that happening, unfortunately.
So, okay, I mean,
Okay.
we could check on that, but I'm being convinced that maybe it is the most
Case
equitable way
in
to
point,
do
Blue
it.
Jay Way.
It's definitely the
There we
easiest
are.
way to do it.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
That was my comment.
Yep.
And the monthly versus.
All right,
All right.
so,
I think the item that we would be looking for is, right, any other investigation that you'd like to look at. Understandably, you're, excuse me, seeing this for the first time. We know to look into the sewer 4000 customer further, so we'll do that. But the goal of this was just kind of present the initial item, and then it'll be brought back for a future meeting with a resolution that'll have all the resolution language that's kind of necessary, and then it'll look a lot like Table 6. So it'll say, here's your current rates as of 1/1/26, or whenever you guys decide to implement it. These are the new rates.
so usually those rate increases, Lucy, in the past have been recommendations from the Water and Sewer Board. So if we can get this on Water and Sewer
Absolutely.
Board next week,
I'll be doing
That
that
would be
meeting
great.
as well. Yep, I will put
All right.
that on the agenda.
thank you.
All
right. Great work, Brian, thank you.
Any questions for Brian?
No. I feel much more knowledgeable.
Steve, you good?
Yes.
All right.
Brian, I will help figure out
Yeah,
the
we'll
other
talk tomorrow.
components, so thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
All right, thank you. I think we are now moving to number 5, committee reports. Plan Commission. Brian.
We have 3 action items from the 3 hearings on there, so I'm not gonna cover those because we're gonna go into each one of those in those areas. We had one item that was, I don't know where to take it, I guess, but I thought we'd take it here. It's just a discussion topic. It's about the village fee schedules. There's obviously Plan Commission has fees levied on a number of things. We have many fees. So there was a suggestion in the Plan Committee meeting that the village operationalize reviewing those fee schedules on a normal basis holistically, not just every committee, we should go review the fee schedule at certain times. So this should be operationalized. I don't know if that would be like direction to staff to make sure these are on agenda items, things like that, but I just wanted to present to the board. It came out of that committee. I know there's a lot of other committees with fees that we're always talking about adjustments to, so just an
And
idea
the
that came out
village
of that.
board did pass the updated fee schedule at the last village board meeting.
And then is that fee schedule going to be reviewed annually?
That was
yes.
really the question.
Yeah, it absolutely will be reviewed annually, for the one mere fact that dog licenses, we are gonna see that whole entire fee schedule again in December, because we've just been given the dog license, fees for Jefferson and Dane counties, so that,
Great.
those 2 line items,
Okay.
or actually it's more than 2, will have to be updated. And then if there's any others that need to be addressed, and I hope not quite so soon after just, all of the other work. But then, yes, and I will include a date stamp, when approved by the board, so that's there. And the fee schedule was always being reviewed annually, just not holistically in full.
Got it.
Okay, fair enough. And I think it was just more that, let's put the placeholder somewhere in the month in every committee to review the fee schedule. This is just part of our normal annual review. Okay. Sounds good. That was it from Plan Commission, other than the 3 action items that we're gonna go over, so.
Okay. All right. Joint Law Enforcement Committee. Who wants to take that?
So joint law enforcement met just before our board meeting, and we got an update. I'm going to kind of give a little bit longer of a joint police update just because there's been a lot of discussion on our police contract and should we, there's a lot of community buzz about canceling our community or our police contract. So in September, Cambridge had 83 calls for service. Deerfield, which should back up, our contract is a joint contract between Deerfield and Cambridge. We have 3 patrol deputies that split their time between the 2 villages, 1 per shift. So 1 daytime, 1 PM shift, and 1 power shift. We have Deputy Reynolds, who is our school resource officer. The school district pays 80% of Officer Reynolds' contract. The villages split the other 20%, so he covers during summer break vacations, he patrols, other breaks, things along those lines. So, like I said, we had, Cambridge had 83 calls for service in September, Deerfield had 69. In October, Cambridge had 61 calls for service, Deerfield had 70, so our deputies had 283 calls for service in 2 months. If the village were to disperse on our contract, there is 1 patrol deputy that currently serves the 4 townships nearest to Cambridge. Those are Christiana, Albion, Pleasant Springs, and Dunkirk. It would be extremely difficult for our Dane County Sheriff's Department to absorb the calls from Cambridge for that 1 deputy who serves those other 4 communities. The deputy would not be able to enforce village ordinances within the village limits. There would be no one to conduct the alcohol license backgrounds. There would be limited or no law enforcement presence in our community, and it would be minimal traffic enforcement. And it would be extremely difficult for us to arrange any law enforcement coverage during village events and other things that require traffic control, such as our parades and things along those lines. We do have a deputy who is retiring in December, so we are, and he has been with the force. Corgi?
About 25 years.
Thank you.
Your guys' deputy for about 20.
Okay, thank you. So we will be recruiting for his position. That will be hopefully in the next month or 2 that we will be recruiting for his position. So, you know, our police contract does more than just write tickets. So.
And I imagine there would be some cost savings going from a 20-year veteran to a new officer.
Sure.
Be some cost savings there.
You're talking highest on the pay scale till probably middle, potentially on the pay scale, depending upon who we would hire. So there would be cost savings as well, too.
Go ahead.
Some of that is also who you choose in that process.
Right.
The process hasn't started.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would the school district have to do if we didn't have that contract and they had to still have to have their resource officer? What would they do?
They would have to absorb the entire contract.
Okay.
So, and that would also not give us Deputy Reynolds as an extra deputy during
Because he's not always.
Because
he's not.
yeah.
Okay.
And you know, I think there was a discussion on, I hate reading social media, but I do anyways, about, you know, why can't Deputy Reynolds patrol during the day or cover calls during the day? He's contracted to the school district. So if he's not present in the school district, he's of no use to our children and our teachers and our other staff members. So he can't do anything for their safety if he's out running a traffic stop or talking to a trespasser or things along those lines. And just a couple of things to point out, like, you know, some of those calls for service, we've had a rash of storage unit thefts. The deputies just arrested a homicide suspect from Milwaukee in the village of Deerfield within this past week. What was it?
About 4 hours ago.
Oh, 4 hours ago. Okay.
Yeah, that was today.
You know, there's been a sexual assault call. There has been drug investigations. There's been death investigation. You know, so there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that our deputies do a good job of keeping the rest of us from having to endure. So I just think we need to take that into consideration as we start talking about.
And I can speak to the village office. When the village office was running into a situation where they had a citizen that was very angry and somewhat belligerent, they came and they wanted to speak to the village president. And so I called Tony, and within 5 minutes there was about 3 squad cars down here at the village office, and that was our resource officer.
Nice.
So.
And just to add on Chris's and Kristen's point is that we also had safety and security concerns, and it's just one individual, but where we, the Dane County Sheriff's Department insisted us with a trespassing order, a no trespassing order, so that member of the community is not allowed on village property. And so far that has worked well, and that was after 3 incidents that staff had to face. So for us and our safety, it is extremely important and vital.
Yeah. I think an important comment that you made, Kristen, is it's not a problem until it's a problem, right?
Problem.
Yep.
And we have to circumvent that somehow. So.
Exactly.
Kristen, I've had a couple constituents, you know, I live on Main Street. So I have a couple of constituents that are concerned about speeding. Because we thought that the stoplight would help. I think it's made things worse.
Because they race to beat the stoplight.
Yeah, and then they race to the curve, and then.
Yep.
I'll have to tell you, in all the years I've lived on Main Street, and I think we're going on like 30 years now, I think I've only seen a police, a handful of times in all of those years, pull anybody over on Main Street there. Is there anything we can do to encourage the law enforcement officers to maybe spend a little more time looking for speeders on Main Street? Because sometimes it's really hard to cross the street downtown too, because they are going so fast.
So one of the things that was explained, and Deputy Corrigan, you can help me out here too, is that yes, you know, traffic control is a high priority. However, if they are doing investigations or, you know, responding to other calls, there is no one to run that traffic for us, because it's the one deputy for the 2 communities, and they're splitting. I can say they do sit, I see, they sit right now currently at the old Quick Trip building. They've been spending quite a bit of time there. I will see them during school, like let out times in the mornings and in the evenings. They're sitting on Main Street right out in front of Bank First very, very frequently. But you know, with the one deputy, it's a little bit more challenging for them to actually get, but yes.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Can I add
You can come
so
up.
the one section you're talking about is actually really hard to enforce speed because it's hard to park a squad to get speed estimates. So I have sit at the old Quick Trip like you talk about, or talking about, but I do know we do sit along Main Street because that is a major thoroughfare. You have 12 and 18 coming right off there, so you get a lot of traffic through Cambridge. So we're definitely sitting there more, and I'll let my partners know that it's a concern.
And I live on the block between the old Quick Trip and the curve.
Okay.
So I live on I live in that section.
Okay.
And yeah, so and a number of my neighbors know that I'm on the village board, so they've talked to me about it. So.
Paula, I just wanted to let you know, I did have one of the deputies, is it an intern? That is the young ones that work with the deputies on first and second shift? Are they like interns
We
or?
do have some interns currently. I don't know if
Okay,
that's what you're talking
so they were, they sat for because a deputy had an intern, they sat for 4 hours and they did not get 1 traffic violation.
Wow. Okay.
Because he was wanted the intern to get And again, one day, but I just wanted to share that because I did bring that concern because I had also received emails regarding Main Street.
Come by 6 o'clock in the morning, because the guy who leaves Quick Trip that I don't think has a muffler on his car, I hear him every morning.
And I think some
That's
of
my
it,
alarm.
I think some of it too, Paula, is, you know, it's observing the crosswalks.
Yes.
You know, there is, we used to, correct me if I'm wrong, we used to have the little post things sitting in the middle of the, are they still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Until
but-
somebody hits them and then they
Until
go to
somebody
the side of
hits
the
them,
road
yeah.
and then we drag it back out there.
And, you know, but it's, our drivers have to, people coming through, you know, we're a very transit community because we have people who live in the Fort area east of us, they work in Madison, vice versa. They have to observe our crosswalk rules and.
I mean, the one by the Piggly Wiggly.
That's a tough one.
That's a
you
tough
know.
one, yeah.
You know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for hearing my concern.
Any other comments for Joint Law Enforcement Committee? Any other add-ins for the other members?
Sorry.
I don't think that Dane County is having any like personnel increases this year. So
They're not.
like budgetarily, that's another thing that is happening, is that there are no raises that are budgeted for Dane County, which will impact our cost.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So.
Anything else? All right, we're going to move on to, correct me if I'm wrong, Lucy, I believe we are at 7B.
Yes.
So 7B, discussion and possible action, one village board meeting a month. This came back on the agenda because we discussed it. It was a split vote, and Brian, we're missing you, so we wanted you to be part of this discussion. So
Did anybody change their mind since the last time? Okay.
I did. I did.
Okay.
So, you know, the mindset behind this is I've been receiving, correspondence from board members that they're meetinged out, that, they're getting pulled in many directions. So I had a discussion with Lucy about, hey, what do other municipalities do? Is it commonplace to have one meeting a month? I know that some of our other neighboring municipalities do one meeting a month, and I thought that would be able to alleviate some of the stress, because volunteerism is hard, as we can see, and want to maintain a 7-person board. I don't want people getting burnt out, so I thought maybe that would be a way to relieve some of the stress on our board members.
And my point, Brian, because obviously I'm a no on this. I think we should keep 2 meetings because we already have 3-hour meetings. If we went down to 1, I can't imagine they're going to be shorter. Plus, we're less responsive to what's going on. I mean, if you only have 1 meeting a month, then there's the timing of water and sewer, and it has to be approved by water and sewer. Well, then it has to wait for the next board meeting before it's approved again. And right now, that's a 2 to maybe 3-week time period. In the future, that might be a 4 or a 4-week time period. And I think the wheels of government move so slowly anyway. I hate to add that additional burden on it. And I think we're a lot more responsive to what's going on in the community by meeting twice a month. And we'd have to have more committee meetings if we didn't meet twice a month. So then we wouldn't really be saving any meeting time.
Fair, and I can understand that from the Plan Commission. It's very timely that those hearings take place and then those things get on. Otherwise, these things drag out for months.
Months and months.
Okay. Was there discussion about combining some committees? Because I know that was also thrown around. I just want to make sure,
Yeah.
full.
Is it okay if I speak on this, Chris?
Yeah.
So, 2 meetings ago? 3? We talked about, we did discuss combining committees.
Yep.
That was something that I got feedback on from the League of Wisconsin Municipalities Fall Conference, that many communities are doing, and their committees are doing the work. They have full comprehension information, understanding, and so then when it goes to the board, it's usually just a matter of answering and any questions, but usually by the time it gets to the board, all trustees have been given all of the information. And that didn't go over so well. So we, with village president, myself, and just because it did not go over well, trustees are putting that on the back burner. And so that's why we thought, okay, maybe the one meeting a month. And ultimately, this is a trustee decision. I just want to share from a staff perspective. And now this week isn't quite normal, but we have 6 meetings this week, all in the evening.
I actually have 7 because I have to do collective bargaining for the Fire and EMS Commission. So I have 7 in 7 days.
So I didn't have to do anything with that agenda or anything.
Nope, you did not. I'm just pointing out.
But I just, from a staff perspective, even if the meetings go a little longer, that's one agenda, that's one set of minutes. All of the prep work, trying to get the agenda items and the supporting documents. And so it's just been very, very difficult. And then not that this is temporary, but we are very, very short-staffed on top of that currently, and that will be fixed in the future. But staff burnout's a real thing too, and the trustee burnout as well. So, the majority of municipalities, twice our size, meet once a month, and so I guess I hope that if they're able to accomplish all of the things, I believe it can be done. And I also think that it's one of those things that can be tried. And if it doesn't work and there's if the trustees decide, nope, we want to go back to 2, we're not getting everything accomplished that we want to get done and doing it all one night a month, again, it's something that nothing's in in concrete, nothing's set in stone. It was just an idea to bring to the board.
Yes. Okay. And I'd be remiss if I didn't, even though I'm on the yes side of the house, there was a component on the last meeting that was brought up about the transparency piece, right? So you go down to 1 meeting a month, then all of a sudden you get the transparency. We're not being as transparent as we are with 2 meetings a month. So that was also mentioned, just to be fair, for argument's sake. So.
And I think too, if we continue with the 2 meetings a month, and if that's what the board decides, that's fine. But then, we have to also look at an equitable distribution of the committees. Practice is to not have the newer committee members sitting on some of the more labor intensive or kind of breaking those up amongst those, but then you have say an individual like me. Like I said, I have 7 meetings in 7 days. I also have a full-time job, so those are things that then we have to take into consideration as well.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And distribute that a little bit better.
And on previous boards, if someone was overwhelmed, they just spoke up and said, I'm overwhelmed, I need somebody to help me with some of these committee assignments. So, absolutely. And it does make a difference if you are on committees that have regular meeting times versus committees that don't.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Exactly.
also different if you're chairperson in
Chair
that
of the
committee
committee.
as opposed to just
Yep.
being a member of it.
Mhm.
Because Kristen thinks 7 meetings and 7.
Mhm.
If you're speaking up, it sounds like you're speaking up that you could use some off-lift help on this. I feel the same way. I'm not even in town. I've had a lot of traveling going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one thing to be on a committee, keeping up with what's going on, working on agendas, seeing what's going on, sharing that, and you need to be more involved in that. I feel that I'm not letting some of that happen sometimes, and so I feel that same pain. So that's but the committees. I appreciate everybody holding this and having this for a vote for me. My personal opinion is right now, there's so much going on in the village right now. I think the timing of this isn't good. But I think this should be looked at maybe first quarter of next year. If the committees and the village board can get, and the staff are all on the right page, and we're like, we can really make this work, I'm okay with that then. But I really just feel with where we're at right now, there's so much going on, and we need to get through some of these transitional changes. But I'd be more than happy to look at it down the line. And I do appreciate the time on these. I get the same problem. So.
And then I just would like to add, since I have you all here, which most of you I've sent in emails, but just another articulating the chairs of all the committees, that I need you all to step up. I need you all to submit the agenda items. Everyone's doing a great job with the new Wednesday at noon cutoff, but the supporting documents, who's going to be speaking on that, letting staff know if it's an item where staff needs to speak on, that's fine, but putting that in there, because we're being sent so many things and we don't have the time to prepare and get all of the information on ourselves. So I'm just asking for more help from each trustee, which I know you're all spread thin. But that's, just for us all to be able to be successful and functional and have all of the information and have the information posted for the community to look and be able to review it all in a time, with plenty of time before the meetings. And so it's improving, but where I'm just stating I need help is doing some of the legwork. And
so if it's an agenda item that I'm requesting, I understand doing that. But if it's a rollover from a previous meeting, then I would expect staff just to put that on the agenda. Because I don't necessarily know what that is, because the meeting minutes aren't out yet.
Yes, no, that is correct.
Okay, all right. Because that's where I've run into some problems particularly on water and sewer, where I thought, okay, this will be on the next month's agenda, and then it's not on the next month's agenda. And then I have to look at the minutes and say, okay, what did we discuss? What didn't come on the agenda? And I don't get that until the agenda's already out.
Absolutely. And I would say, as chair, I know this isn't maybe ideal. Please don't rely on the minutes. So if there are things for future agenda items, first of all, was ever there taking the minutes, and I'm sure the last couple, it's been me, should be writing down all the future items so that they immediately can go on. But if chair, if you could do that as well to make sure nothing's getting missed, because there's just so many agendas being managed that things are going to and have fallen through the cracks. I'm just being honest. And I know that is my job. I'm just asking for help because
Things are tough right now.
It's tough right now.
Okay, fair. I don't want this to sound off, but as chair of 3 different committees, and it's come to my attention a number of different ways from the community and other members of those committees, is how is information getting into these committees? I've been on a couple of committees and I've never had any information come to me from staff, from anywhere. We have an agenda. If you need to have the chairperson meet on a monthly basis and just go through what the agenda items are, go through the course, whatever, it needs to be between, it can't just be the village trustee saying, hey, we got to do, somebody on staff is like, hey, Public Works, Water, Sewer, they got to reach out so they can work through the agendas. Otherwise, it's just in a vacuum.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel.
So right now, there's reminder emails, and let me know if this isn't working. Reminder emails, I believe, are sent out on Tuesday to the chairs. And I'm not Yessie's been a big help with taking that, and I'm not sure if she sends it to all committee members or just the chair, asking for agenda items with that deadline of Wednesday at noon. And then from there, draft agenda should be shared with the chair. I know for Plan Commission, it's just all development. It's all development. There's, those are just items that have to go to Plan Commission. There's not a lot of discussion. Economic development, we're looking for items from the chair. And then the third one for audit and finance, also again, that's being sent out asking for agenda items. And then for the village board agendas, I work with the village president, myself and Yessie, and if there's anything else that's happening or in the works, besides what.
Yeah, but I think Plan Commission, 90% of that is going to be from staff.
Yes, it's all development.
It's all development. They're coming into the office. They're asking for X, Y, Z, and then
rezonings,
so 90%
comprehensive
of your
plan
Plan
amendments.
Commission is going to be
Mm-hmm.
very
So-
administrative. Yeah.
Specifically for Plan Commission, since 90% of that comes to staff,
Mhm.
and you're the person who takes most of those meetings,
Mhm.
are you at all the Plan Commission meetings?
I have not been at the last two.
Because if you're not there,
Mhm.
then sometimes they don't know what to talk about.
Mhm.
Because Yessie doesn't have the information.
Yes.
So either if you know you're not going to be there, you have to involve Yessie to give her
Mm-hmm.
the information, or you've got to talk to somebody to give
So
them the
last night we had Steve from MSA that was there to speak on all three public hearings. So that he should have been able to answer any committee questions. He's been part of all of the development meetings. Nothing has happened without Steve and Bill Pino. So Yessie was just there as a clerk to take minutes. She was not there to
Okay, so
answer any
traditionally,
questions.
that's not what our staff has done in meetings.
Okay.
And so that's going to take people a while to make an adjustment to.
Okay.
So you may need to like inform people of that as well on the different committees, if that's now going to be the standard.
Well, Plan Commission will continue to be my meeting.
Okay.
The last two Mondays I could not attend. Or the last two months, I could not make it. So therefore, with so many meetings, it's difficult to attend them all.
And I think one thing too, that just in meeting general, and as we're talking about, you know, agenda planning and all those other kinds of things, when we talk about the majority of our committees, we're talking about 3-member committees. So we cannot be discussing things. I can't be, you know, if I'm on personnel with, you know, with Brian and Jennifer, I can't be reaching out to Jennifer to discuss something or to bring, you know, agenda things. You know, why isn't this being done? What is this? What, you know, that's a walking quorum, you know, and we have to all, because of those small committees, we always have to be mindful of the fact that we can't be communicating directly
We
with
also
each other.
cannot use any collaboration tools.
Nope.
We can't just like,
Nope.
hey, these are things that we want to have on the thing.
We can't
because
have a
of our-
a SharePoint or a
We can't
OneNote
do
or.
any of
nope.
that. We have to meet.
Nope.
And that's why a lot of it is like, you got to refer them to the administrator.
to staff,
Refer them to
refer to
staff,
staff.
refer to the administrator. It's not skirting your responsibilities, it's just, it's the process in which.
And it puts staff in a difficult position, and, you know, for economic development, we had to cancel it because several emails were sent out with no response. So I reached out to Village President Bruning and I said, we have no agenda items, we have gotten no responses. It's the final hour, we have to start putting stuff together and get it posted, and then so we went ahead and canceled it. So that's where, but keep in mind, all of that time, with how short-staffed we are, staff is wasting all of this time reaching out to, I mean, and granted, that's what we need to do. But if we're, you know, emailing and trying to follow up several times, not getting a response, and then we're not able to do our job.
Do you do read receipts on all emails?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And they are all read.
Okay, and that's
not, yep.
telling, you know.
Yep.
So I think that onus
Yes.
then comes back to us committee members
Yes.
that, you know, we have a duty and
Yes.
and we have to read our email more than once a week.
So, and I'll be the first to say, staff and myself, we can do better too, but I think everyone can do better. And just, going forward, we are, very shorthanded for probably the rest of the year. And so just please keep that in mind with all things.
Yep.
I think to kind of put a bow on this, we also discussed, Brian, about, after April rolls around, when usually we send out the committee assignments and everything, trying to work with staff and get, whenever we have a particular committee, where they are on a certain date or a certain time, so that way our trustees can plan accordingly, especially those that have families and jobs and everything else. It's nice to be able to put on a yearly calendar when you have a public work or a public works meeting or a personnel meeting, and then you can always put them there. But if there is no agenda items for personnel or something else, then you can, as a chair, say, we don't have enough to substantiate this meeting, so we're going to cancel it, or we're going to push it to the next go-around.
But by having that standing date, that it's helpful for, I've had community members that use that too, like if for a committee that they want to show up, then they put that on their calendar. Instead of it, switching all over the place, and it's hard for the community members to keep track of all of the changes.
All right. Is anyone making a motion on this, or are we moving on?
I'll make a motion to move the village board meeting to once a month.
I'll second.
So we got a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
I've changed my vote. I agree with what Paula was saying before. I mean, I would love to have one meeting a month, but I don't think it will serve us or the community well. So I would be changing my vote to a no.
And I think Brian made a really good point when he said, right now isn't the right time. 6 months from now, we might be in a wholly different spot, and it might make more sense. I just think right now it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, 6 months from now, you won't be on the board. Or maybe you will. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Brendel.
No.
No?
What is the, I'm sorry.
To move to
one
yeah,
meeting a
I
month.
would still no.
No? Is that what you're, I'm sorry, no? Okay.
Do you want to repeat the motion so we won't be so confused here?
Sure. Chris Bernine made a motion to move to one village board meeting a month, seconded by trustee Blackwood.
Yeah, no, I'm still no.
Blackwood.
Yes.
Hollenbeck.
No.
Cricklow.
No.
Jacobson.
No.
Schultz.
No.
And Bernine.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, moving on. That motion failed. Moving on to new business, dare we say?
Yep.
I think
new
we're on to
business,
8A,
8A.
right?
8A, discussion possible action on a comprehensive plan, future land use map amendment. Brian, is that you?
I can go through each one of these. They're all in the packet. These are all at the Plan Commission hearing last night.
All right.
Sarah was also there. The first one is the Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Amendment. This is for 230 Billstead Road. This is the property where it shows they want to put in 6 houses at the side of the property. Currently, it is zoned for, it would be changed from neighborhood mixed use to neighborhood residential. They met with, this is items that came out of that, just to get context. They had met with water and sewer and discussed that they wouldn't be on the water system for Cambridge. And that was discussed at water and sewer. There's a large cost to make that work. They discussed that they would have 3 wells, one for each.
2.
2 wells, correct.
Well, 3 per, 2 per, 2.
Yeah.
Share one
3
water.
total wells for 6 homes.
Yeah.
How about that? Do the math. Okay.
There you go.
And then this was approved to move forward with this, but there was an item where I want to make sure I have this right, that that when the plans come forward, that would be deeded, that there is no other changes if there was ownership of the property or anything else like that, so.
Yeah,
no
well,
other-
so what came up in water and sewer was that, you know, first it was just his house, now it's 6 more houses, there's still a lot of land. Is he gonna, in 3 years, say, oh, now it's just gonna be 4 more houses? Whereas if he had come to us, if a developer had come to us and said, I wanna put 30 houses on this property, we would have said, you're gonna have to put in a lift station, and we're gonna have to
Sure.
run water and sewer.
And Mike is here if you want to come up.
Oh, come on.
I saw he's here.
In the shuffle. But Mike was more agreeable to say, let's do a deed restriction, et cetera, and then Bill Pinow said that would be something to build into when we do the CSM.
Okay.
That would be something we build in, and Mike was very amenable to that, so,
Agreed.
yeah.
Yep.
And then just further on this, so this comprehensive plan amendment, as me and Mike have had several meetings, this is step 1 of this 230 Billstad Road small development. There'll be land divisions with the CSM and other things coming at a meeting near you soon.
Correct.
This is step 1.
So this passed unanimously by the Plan Commission to recommend to the board to approve the comprehensive plan land use amendment for that.
Okay. Would you like to make
May
a
I ask
motion?
a question?
Yes.
Who maintains the road?
The village does. It's a road. It's a village road,
Okay.
just like all the roads are.
Well, ours isn't, but,
Oh, yeah, you have a private road. That's because of your little,
yeah.
yeah, there's 2 of those private roads in the areas in town, yeah. Okay.
There was some discussion again about sidewalking and different things like that, but based on if it just those, we're fine. We were fine with it.
Yep.
But there was discussion on that. So, you want to watch the Plan Commission hearing? You can hear all the chatter about it.
All right, Brian, would you like to make a motion then?
I would. I'd like to make a motion to amend the comprehensive plan future land use amendment for 230 Billstad Road from neighborhood mixed use to neighborhood residential as approved by the Plan Commission. Recommended by the Plan Commission, not approved. Recommended.
Schultz will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second discussion.
The final item I want to make is, I mean, the idea that Cambridge actually has a potential of 6 more houses in the village of Cambridge that can be added to our tax base when we pretty much thought we had nowhere at all to build. I think this is a good compromise for the village as a whole.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess one other question, in this plan, do we have, I mean, there's adequate access for public safety, you know?
So, Kristen, this is just step 1.
Just step 1?
This is just to amend the comprehensive plan amendment, so
Okay.
We don't have any of the other things.
all
that
of the
yet?
rest
Okay.
will be
'Cause that
coming.
needs to be. Okay.
Yes.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you.
All right.
Step 1.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank
hanging
you.
in there, Mike.
We should have moved you up, Mike.
Sorry. I didn't see him over here. I probably would
I
have.
watched the Badger game in peace without my kids calling.
All right. All right, moving on.
Just funny, sir. He said he had to get out of the last meeting quick to put his 4 kids to bed. So
Oh my God.
he actually was like, he's not getting out of having to deal with the
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So we're doing them a favor.
All right.
Discussion and possible action on amendments to the village zoning ordinance.
Yes. So this is, we looked at the village zoning ordinances, and every single density is treated exactly the same. And so that was reviewed by MSA. Recommendations are included in the packet. There's one item I want to point out that we put a condition on before approval for that, and that is the height. Let me just pull it up. I want to make sure everybody sees this so they can understand.
I have it, Brian. It is.
It's
it
the
is
height on the
RH
multi-use 40
It's the
foot.
RH district multifamily buildings.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, they made a recommendation that we raise that limit on those buildings to 45 feet high instead of the standard 35. But there's a concern that our ladder for the fire truck isn't going to be able to meet that.
We don't have a ladder truck.
Okay.
We don't have a ladder truck.
We do
Okay.
not have an area.
So there you go.
I
So-
think if we make an emotion to approve this, it's with the condition that we move that back down to 35 feet. because
We can't afford a ladder truck.
we don't, and does the Village of Cambridge want a 3-story apartment building?
Well, they were recommending based on kind of the way buildings are being constructed and what would be out there and what would make feasible.
What do they have out the winery now?
I think the,
Aren't those 3-story?
I think
I think those are 2-story.
2-story. We don't have 3-story buildings in the Village of Cambridge, and I don't know
The
that we
Rick
do.
House is probably the only, but then we were told that we just let it.
So the
die.
main concern with making that 45 feet, if we just left it at 35, I think we were fine as the plan commission. We were concerned about public safety, obviously, with height.
We
So.
would have to come in from Fort, right? A ladder truck?
Lake Mills.
Lake Mills.
But looking at the rest of them, all those changes are in red. We all went through those. They make sense. It didn't make any sense that everything is treated exactly the same. So that was the main adjustment. But that was the one thing I wanted to point out. So that's on page 3 of 3. It's that last
So
one.
for multifamily buildings, the maximum building height, that needs to be reduced to 35?
35. So it's 35 for everything.
Okay.
Which is what it's at now.
That is
Yeah.
what it's at now. They were proposing adding it to 45 just for that one specific type of building.
Got it.
So.
I thought the winery, I thought they were 3-story too, but.
Which one?
The
I was
winery.
thinking that the winery had 3-story
apartments,
apartments.
I
too,
think
but-
they are. I'm
3-story.
Are they? I thought
They
they were only
are.
2. I only
Pretty
remember
sure.
seeing 2 balconies. Do they have a
They're
lower, do they have
3.
like a basement? Do they have a
I know they have a garage.
They have a garage underneath.
yeah.
They have a garage underneath. They're only 2 stories.
I thought they were only 2.
Okay.
They're only 2 stories.
I could very
should
well
pay
be
more
wrong.
attention. But, yeah.
Brian, when you drive home tonight,
When I walk around and ride my bike, I don't know why I'm.
and look at pure
I just
indecent.
don't- they
Brian, when you're-
seem to be
when you're-
3 to me. I
Brian, when you're not at a meeting,
Yeah.
Okay, so we can, I can make the recommendation that all of that be, except that one item in there. So it would be 35 feet height restriction for all, and I think that would be fine. So, any questions on that? It's in the packet.
no, just if you want to make a motion.
So,
Okay.
so I have a question about that, just because, like,
Make a motion.
oh, do you need to make the motion first?
I'm gonna
and
make
then-
it, then we can have quick
Oh,
discussion.
okay.
How about that?
Okay,
I'd
that's
like,
fine.
Trustee Kreckler would like to make a motion to amend the village zoning ordinance, adjusted to what is in the packet as presented.
With the exception.
With the exception of what is put in there for multifamily buildings, that the recommendation is 45 feet, should be
For
35.
maximum building height.
For maximum building height, all should be at 35 feet.
Yes.
All right. Do we have a second?
Trustee Hollenbeck seconds.
All right, discussion.
Okay, now I can.
Okay, so with, I understand the safety and security piece of that, but if you add like another story, you have more density, does that impact?
Oh, I don't think they would build anything. It would still have to go through plan commission, that density and different things like that. This is just the height that we're allowing for the building, so.
Okay,
What are you thinking, since we can't expand out because it's-
right, because you can't
Maybe we have to
expand
go
up,
expand
maybe you
up?
expand,
So-
Yep.
you expand up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was my thoughts exactly.
and I think the biggest issue with that is that we'd have to get a new fire station, because if we got and then we'd have to get a new ladder truck, and if we got a ladder truck, it doesn't fit in the current station, so.
We wouldn't have to. There's the NFPA has regulations and rules on apparatus, and if there is, and I would have to go back and look at the specific rule, but if there is an equivalent apparatus available within X amount of miles, that you don't have to have that for yourself. I know we were talking about that when there was the big discussion out, where Quick Trip and stuff like that is, they were talking many years ago about putting a 3 or 4 story building in there. And that was brought up at that time, that and I believe because now Lake Mills has a ladder truck, Lake Mills Fort, there's one more, that would suffice. So just.
I think
Yeah.
though, if we went
2 cents.
higher to that, we need to do an assessment overall as a village of everything that we would need to provide for those height things, and if there's an economic impact. These other items, I don't feel like there's any economic impact to support those changes.
Because if you go higher, if you get more density, then that's more people going out the one ingress and egress that might be, because we've got developments where there's only one way to get in and one way to get out, and or 2 ways to get in and 2 ways to get out, and it's already overloaded. So if we do a higher density, that becomes really difficult when we add more cars onto that one road. Like if we're talking the Westgate, if we had put a 3-story over at Westgate, there's one way in and out of there.
Yeah. But I like the way you're thinking, Jennifer, because the future of Cambridge is going to be stifled with growth and
We
development.
blight properties and building up.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about like what the city of Madison did like 30 years ago. They said they put a cap on 10-story buildings, and so everything looks the same. It's like downtown, everything is 8 stories or lower. So there's the aesthetic piece of it, but then there's also, are we making a decision that
It's going to
it's
stifle
going
our
to
growth.
stifle our growth? And I just don't feel like
they
that's,
could be.
It's currently at 35 feet right now if we don't do anything.
So
this,
it's something we could revisit again.
we can always
We can always
revisit this.
revisit it? Okay.
And if somebody presented something that would, then we could go look at that. They would say, hey,
Okay.
would you be interested in changing this thing? And we
Yep.
could take a look at that. So.
Yep.
Okay.
And then just to share, all of this is step 1 of many steps to come.
And if we had a developer come to us for an area, they could also get a PUD, right, to be able to not have to abide by these numbers, because
Yes and no.
that's what the Vineyard did to
Yeah.
not abide by what we currently have in place.
Yeah.
Like the
PUD? What's a PUD?
acreage size of lots.
Can you dumb down the PUD?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means either.
Uh,
Sorry. I don't know what it means either, so.
Oh my God, it's totally
my-
gone from me now.
Oh,
I don't know,
my
I'll have to look at what PUD is.
No, I know what it is too, and I need to go. Give me a second, Paula.
Planned unit development?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It sure isn't peptic ulcer disease. That was the first
Nope.
Google search.
That one
So
I
that
could
one
attest
was-
to. No,
Yeah,
that is not
that's
that.
it. It's bland.
So it's part of a real,
It's part of a developer's agreement,
yes,
really.
thank you.
Yep, it's part of the developer's agreement. They say, hey, we want to build this, but these are your rules that we want you to relax for our development.
So if a developer wanted to come in and put a 6-story apartment building, they would come in, see this, and they would say, uh-oh, I can't put it any higher than 35 feet, and they would go and request that we...
Or they would look at other
Would they
communities.
do that, or would they
I was gonna
look
say,
at
they're
other
going to look at the
communities?
path
They're-
of least
yeah.
resistance, and that's what worries me, is that we are going to be stifling our growth, because we have nowhere to go up. They might be apartment buildings, which necessarily don't put them on the tax roll, but they could be condos, which would put them on the tax roll. So I
And
would
even if they're
disagree.
apartments, it's still revenue because
still
the
revenue.
owner of the building is paying
Yes.
the revenue on the square footage,
Correct.
not the square footage on the ground, the square footage going up.
Because
What-
if builders have the opportunities to put up units quickly, which is what a lot of them want to do, they take the path of least resistance. They will look at this community and this community and this community and see which one is going to be easiest and most beneficial for them. So I
Well,
have,
in that realm, we should raise it to 75 feet and see what comes up then, right?
don't know.
I don't know if we're, we probably should take that back to the Plan Commission and have a discussion about that height, and taking that insights of future growth and density with those things. But this is what MSA presented as.
Yeah, what did Steve say regarding the 35 to 45 feet difference? What was his?
He just said that what they are seeing buildings are that 35 feet would restrict to a certain couple of stories. And there was one type of building with the roof and everything else that would be over that, so.
And I do know like some very, very raw potential ideas were an apartment building with retail on the first floor. So again, that's in preliminary, nowhere near coming to Plan Commission yet, but it is, yeah. So his original recommendation, so Steve, based on all of the meetings that we've had, he does a staff report. And so the original would be putting it to the 45 feet. But again, he'll tell you in with our meetings that this is, you know, it is up to the trustees, it is up to the board, it's ultimately their decision. This is just from a
The
planning.
Plan Commission didn't like the 45 feet.
Correct.
Yep. So they had recommended to the board with there still being an exception about that 45 feet.
We were good with everything in here except at the 45 feet. Based on the information with the fire truck ladder and what we had presented to us with that, so. But we did not take in the perspective of overall future growth or anything like that. So I think that's fair to go back to.
I mean, I think we can vote this because we get 99% of what we want here. And then if we already have a motion in a second. So we get 99% of things updated, which need to be updated. And then the 1% thing, we can revisit.
What's in our comprehensive plan when it comes to building restrictions? I mean, I think that states 35.
Yeah, I don't think we had.
It's currently 35, I think.
Yeah,
so.
and I don't think we had 3-story buildings.
But it's something that we can bring up in the next,
Yep.
possibly the next comprehensive plan when we are planning for the future.
That's not a bad idea.
And when is that?
Well, we just did a comprehensive plan, so we have about 8 years left.
Right.
Before.
So we're researching our growth for 8 years.
But we can change that at any time.
I do have an amendment, but I do want to also keep in mind, and I understand it's 10 feet. It is 10 feet, but every rezone, every comprehensive plan amendment, land division, CSM. So as you all know, I'm working with Steve, zoning administrator and planner from MSA, which is different than, we're not utilizing the attorney unless there's legal bits of it, but there's a cost to that too. So I'm just stating, by passing this and knowing that in the near future, again, then it's doing this all over again.
He wouldn't have to revisit this, Lucy. We wouldn't have to take it back to MSA because we already know what MSA's opinion is.
Okay.
So if we took this 45-foot back to MSA, then we're wasting the village's money.
Okay.
Yeah, that was their recommendation. That was in his report.
Right, so we know how they feel about it. We know what their recommendation is. I just don't think, I think the Plan Commission saw it that one night, and I think there's bigger discussions to be had that they weren't ready to make last night.
Absolutely. And I just am sharing just from very early development meeting, this might make it difficult for developers to, move forward.
When I sat with you and that guy from Westgate, I told him a 3-story building was a non-starter for most of the people on the board.
On which board? On this board?
At the time when I was talking to Plan Commission and we had just finished the comprehensive plan.
So
the comprehensive plan was finished years ago. We did have a meeting very early on with the Westgate development. I don't even think I was administrator yet. He had worked with the previous administrator and Village President Bruning and I believe Hollenbeck on just preliminary ideas. But non-starter, that's only from you, not from the entire board.
No, that was, correct. I was speaking for myself. And I said, and I know there are other people on the board because of the fire truck issue, that is going to be a problem.
Because that's the established, 35 feet is
Right.
our established policy right now.
Mhm.
So it shouldn't come as a surprise that if a developer comes in and has a conversation and they want to go 3 stories, then you would say, well, we have,
Well,
it's already.
we
you-
can't
we
go
can't
3
do that
stories
we don't
because
have a
that's
ladder
not
truck.
what our rules are.
Yes, but our rules could be amended.
So do we want to amend the motion then? It sounds like we might have a vote here.
No,
that
let's
needs
vote
to-
on how it is, because
Okay.
people can vote no.
Can someone repeat the motion, please?
I will try my best to repeat the motion. The motion was to amend the village zoning ordinance with the possible, with the maximum building height on multifamily buildings that's shown in the packet as 45 feet, to leave it at 35 feet as the current thing. But all the other changes that were in the packet would be applied
Per the staff report.
per the staff report.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Nothing is amended. Do we want to do roll call?
This isn't money, so we don't need to do roll call.
Okay.
But if you want to, you can, Chris.
Yeah.
You want to do roll call?
whenever you
Okay.
want.
Okay.
Absolutely. Hollenbeck,
Yes.
Blackwood,
No.
Jacobson,
No.
Schultz,
Yes.
Kirklow,
Yes.
Trundle,
No.
Bruning.
I'm going to go no. And with that, I'll make a motion to change the amendment as written with the 45-foot limitation.
Okay.
Can you repeat back the motion, please?
Absolutely. So President Bruning makes a motion to pass the amendment to the village zoning ordinance as presented in staff report from MSA without any changes.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I would ask for a roll call, please.
Just a sec. Okay. Hollenbeck,
No.
Blackwood,
Yes.
Jacobson,
No.
Schultz,
I'm getting this all mixed up in my head.
so this is going
This
to keep
is-
it
so
at
no.
45 feet. Okay. Kirklow,
No.
Trundle,
Yes.
Bruning.
Yes.
Okay, so both failed.
Sharon, you look confused.
No, I'm listening. I'm just listening.
Okay, you looked like you needed to say something. Okay.
Well, we need to do something on this, Brian. Wouldn't you agree that we need to
Why don't we
pass something?
I will make a motion to approve all the changes as posted in there, except the maximum building height, and that should be taken back to Plan Commission for further discussion and then brought back to the board.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I'll second that one.
All right.
I like that.
Okay, hang on. So we have Blackwood second, and so that is to,
All the changes
All
except
changes.
the maximum building height.
and so that will be determined at a later
We're
date?
not doing anything with that until it is determined and taken back to Plan Commission with a recommendation from Plan Commission, and then.
But, go back to
with
Plan
a bigger
Commission and
discussion about
explain
all
to
the
them
different things,
what
yes.
we all
All
discussed
we
up here.
talked about was mostly, again, so.
So I'll
Knowing
change-
that we have fire support from Lake Mills and Fort Atkinson.
We gotta have all the different
We've-
information, so
we've
we'll
gotta
have
get all
time
the
now with that,
information.
so.
Yep.
Can we get a
Actual,
can we get an agreement from the volunteer fire department that they're not going to now then push for a ladder truck and a new fire station?
speak with 100% certainty that they will not ask for that, because
Okay.
it would be for.
That would be a leverage point for them.
I mean, I guess I can't say with 100% certainty, but it would not justify.
Okay.
Because they would need a new building.
Yeah.
Can I get clarification from you? You had told me when you were doing committee assignments that if something fails in plan commission, it does not come to the full board. You had said that. And so
That was my understanding, and I was wrong.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify. So
Lucy looked up the statute,
Okay.
or looked up the state
Great.
statute,
I'm glad
and I was
we're clear.
wrong.
Okay.
That's how I
Thank
was
you.
taught too.
So
I was
ultimately,
curious about that.
ultimately, the village board trumps everything.
That makes
what I was-
sense.
Makes
That
sense.
makes total
Plan
sense. Yes.
commission is, my lord.
Advisory.
What was advisory?
Advisory.
All of the
That
other,
makes
even
absolute sense.
water sewer committee is
Sure.
advisory,
Sure.
even though we give them a lot of responsibility.
Paula,
They hold a lot.
you were on board,
of
and
weight.
you know that there has been situations where planning commission has stifled,
Absolutely. But
and
that's,
it never came to the board.
yep, but that's, yep, and I don't think the board, yeah, we didn't know better.
Yeah.
Now we know better, so now we can do better.
Yeah.
Good, I'm glad we discussed
Yep.
that. Thank you.
And I think we have to really be mindful of that, because other people can't speak for the rest of us.
Yep.
So,
Did
Thank
anybody
you.
second my motion? That's the next one, or no?
Yes.
yes,
Okay, got it. I just want to make sure.
Who seconded it?
Kristen did.
I did.
Okay.
All right, so we'll stay with the same battle rhythm. We'll do all
Roll.
those in favor, say
Can I
aye.
have just- Can we just have a
we
little
better
bit of
roll.
discussion, because
Yeah.
I want to say that, like, the Greater Madison Chamber of Commerce is predicting that the greater Madison area, which goes all the way to Watertown, all the way south to Edgerton, out to Dodgeville, is going to have another 100,000 people here in 25 years. So I think that we have to keep that in mind. I know it's going to impact, it's already impacting Madison, but it's also already impacting us.
It's absolutely
So-
impact. I mean, look at our new net construction for the village of Cambridge. We need a census. I want a population check. I think we're over 2,000 for sure. But so absolutely, Jennifer.
So I just want
And
to.
I think
Yes.
that's a great thing to bring up to the plan commission. For the
We should
plan
have a
commission to take
fuller
up.
debate. We were,
Yeah.
again, looking at what would this be bad for, and not what would be good, and different other
And there
things
was
like
no one there to speak to that we could borrow a ladder truck.
Yep.
And
That's useful
my
information.
apologies in all of the meetings with MSA. That was not something that I even thought of. So
We think about that.
That's all I think about these
That's all,
days,
yes.
is fire and
So-
EMS, so,
but then again, they did recommend the 45 feet.
right.
You know, based on not with all of the things. You know, just an overall
Yeah.
And a village plan, future.
One of the things I would like to stress is we have to worry less about aesthetics, and we have to worry more about growing our village as much as we can. There's been a lot of discussion about, you know, I don't want this in my backyard or that in my backyard, or I don't want to look at this and I don't want to look at that. But the only way that we don't have those things in our backyard is if we buy the lot behind our backyard, you know.
Absolutely.
The Quick Trip project was a perfect example. There were many people in my subdivision who argued, still are arguing about having the Quick Trip in their backyard. But guess who doesn't own it?
We can see the lights of Quit Trip from our house.
I can land a plane in my backyard.
There you
but,
go.
You know, I mean, but you know what? My son loves it because he can ride his bicycle right through that back field, and he's at Quick Trip. So, you know, I just think we have to be very, very careful. You know, when Plan Commission considers projects, that we consider aesthetics as a bottom tier discussion. Tax base, exactly. Yes, yep. And growing our economic development, if we get developments with businesses underneath and things along those lines, these are all things that are going to contribute better to our communities.
I'm just hoping when we expand out that the DOT relaxes a little bit and lets us have another ingress onto Highway 12.
That would be lovely.
Welcome to
That would
Cambridge
be
sign.
lovely.
No,
You know.
exactly.
As long as you're fine with roundabouts.
Yeah.
All
We're
right.
pushing the roundabouts.
Okay.
All right, we have a
Well, I
motion.
like
All right, we have a
that.
motion and a second. Any other discussions?
No.
All right, do we want to do roll call, or can we
Yeah.
do
Keep it.
all in favor, say aye?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Moving on to C, discussion and possible action on amendment to the BC Central Business District.
Okay, this would be, this is again for 111 Spring Street. This came before the Plan Commission before this. It did not work out with what was proposed in the Plan Commission for that. If you guys remember, it used to be a storefront. They want to turn it into an apartment on the bottom floor. There already is residence on the second floor, but because of the way it's zoned, this is not on Main Street, but it was zoned sort of like Main Street to not allow those things. So
It's diagonal from the Village Hall here. It's,
It's the Masons building.
No, it's
Yes.
the one next
it's
to.
right
one
next
next
to the
to the
one
Masons
next to
Yeah,
the
building.
it's
Masons building.
this one.
It's what now?
Oh, okay.
That's the Masons building, it's that one.
And this,
So is it the,
Oh,
it's right
oh,
next to
oh,
Jeff's time.
okay.
Okay.
so this
yeah.
is
the
one
electric
where
company.
it did not pass Plan Commission when they tried to do a simple rezone. And so I worked with MSA to see if there were any other options, viable options, because that lower level of that Plan Commission did not want to pass it because their thought was if this turns into residential, we'll never get it back as commercial. But keep in mind, it has been empty for years.
Nobody
Year-
thinks to go down that street for
Years
commercial.
and years. So now
Nobody.
we are, it's sitting empty. Well, and while I understand that point,
We have businesses on Main Street that have sat empty for almost 10 years, you know. So I think at this point in time, we just need to worry less about that, so.
yes. So this was a text amendment. And you could take it from there, Brian. I just wanted to give a little background.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out there's there's kind of that map on page 2, 3, the red areas in there. So because the recommendation is to change the zoning on that, those other circled areas are the only other ones that would be possibly impacted by that, and that really wouldn't be anything that would be negatively impacted. And then, as you can see in the yellow, there's residential around all those other properties anyway.
So what was the big issue with planning?
The first time it came through,
Because
Because
how
they-
it came through,
yeah.
they were afraid that the downtown Main Street businesses would also be able to have first floor residential.
Yep.
They were afraid they were going to be setting that kind of precedent if you let one, because
Like
that
strictly
side
this?
street is zoned the exact same way downtown
Strictly
is.
this doesn't.
So
There's
they wanna
residential
change it
above
to
it.
This
resident.
doesn't because of the way we're putting it through.
Correct. If you read that page 3, the recommended action, just to make it easier to read, it's, would add ground street level residential except for properties with frontage along Main
Okay.
Street.
Okay,
So
we're
it
going
does,
to take a quick pause.
All right.
That one lower level.
Okay, oh, okay.
has resumed, discussions can continue.
All right.
okay, so instead of changing all the zoning for everything, which could potentially let this, it only impacts those areas and it doesn't impact anything with frontage along Main Street. So it solves the problem and addresses those other concerns that we had. So,
Plus adding housing,
Correct.
potentially housing.
correct.
It is, and then the owner of the properties had a tenant lined up for over 6 months, and has just been waiting for the village to pass this, so. And that, the owner also did agree to keep the facade and everything the same, externally.
So it'll be a
To
rental
restore
unit?
it. Huh?
I'm sorry, it'll be a rental unit?
It'll be a
Okay.
rental unit, yes.
No barbecues or patios on the front sidewalk.
Well, that's what I was kind of like, but-
Motorhome.
yeah.
And the sandboxes, yeah. Yeah. All right.
All right. Would you like to make a motion then, Brian?
Yep. I will make a motion to recommend the village board to approve the text amendment for the BC zoning district to add ground street level residential units except for properties with frontage along Main Street as a conditional use, as it shows in the packet.
Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Okay, motion second, discussion. I think we front-loaded this discussion. So all those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion passes. Discussion and possible action, budget line items. This is
So this
in the
is,
packet.
yes, it is in the packet. This is what is in the packet and was for the previous audit finance committee meeting that got canceled. This is the preliminary based off myself and staff. What you can't see, and I can't send you all the Excel doc because it has about 30 tabs and formulas, and but where it is exactly how it is right now, we're good to go. But keep in mind that fire and EMS is a very large factor. Public Works made numerous cuts. Administration made cuts. There are areas, though, that were increased. For example, the sidewalk replacement plan was an area that was increased. And then also staff training. I did not realize that Public Works didn't even have a line item for any type of training. So that is added. In previous budgets, we have some training for the water utility, but not for Public Works things, which would be like forestry training, chainsaw safety. There's snow and ice training. There's a plethora of trainings out there, but our Public Works employees have done and gone to very little trainings except for water. So that's a big increase. You'll see the attorneys legal has gone down considerably. But then what will be going up is MSA's planning, like especially with planning and zoning. But the fee schedule has been adjusted to take on a lot of that.
Can I just ask a quick
Yeah.
question? This is included, the one with the table, we have to flip it on the other side, right?
If you,
What are we,
What's the ask of this?
I have no idea, because I can barely even
No.
line up
What
what
is-
is lined up. so.
by the way, you guys, if you download it as a PDF and then it opens up in like Acrobat
preview.
Reader,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you can
You can
flip
flip
it.
Oh, I can flip it, it's just
Okay.
even that way, I mean, I gotta get it.
What
One of
it's
these
showing
to-
you is what we actually spent in the budget in '23, '24, and then what we budgeted for '25. I'm not sure why we're only through March 11th of '25. Why?
So when
Or May 11th.
May
sorry.
when
31st. No.
absolutely. So that Ellers does not have the most up to date, and I can
Oh,
send them.
got it.
This whole budget process has started in early July. And so that is the information
Got it.
because I've been sending them everything that I have to assist with entering this information. There's still things I'm waiting. There are certain fees and different things that I'm still waiting from the state. But overall,
So this is showing us when Audit and Finance looks through line item, but budget items, line by line by line. These are the lines they're going through, right?
this is the lines they're going through
Okay.
Thursday. Chris wanted me to add this to the agenda. Again, this is going to be on Thursday's meeting, but if there's Again, Chris, you take the lead
So there's
on.
not an action we're
Do you
looking for,
know?
this is just.
What is the code column?
What was that?
Code column, the last column. It says code.
Oh,
It's got
yes.
T, L, Z. What do those, we don't have a legend in here that tells
Yeah.
us what those mean.
So they have to do with if it is an item that, and I apologize because I have, let me check my desktop because I have the original. Give me a moment.
I think the big ask for our meeting on the 13th was, I want to see what items are, that we have to pay, that we are under contract to pay for. that
And
we
that's
have
what-
to.
yeah.
We
Or
can't-
statutorily we're
statutorily we
required
have
to do.
pay for it
Yep.
because those we can, okay, we can't negotiate that. We can't say, okay, well, we're going to take less, or we're going to chop this in half, or whatever the hell it is, because it's already an incurred cost that we have to pay for. That would make our jobs on audit and finance a lot easier when it comes time to go through each line item and say, okay, can we strip a little of this? Can we take a little of this off?
Mhm.
If we already know, which a lot of it is our, public safety and whatnot, where we are already obligated to pay, if we know what those numbers are, it would make our job a little bit easier. But
So on this document, because I know we had talked about this and I had asked to have it color-coded with this category is stuff we can't touch, whatever. Can you explain the color coding that's on here right now?
Yes, so the color code, anything highlighted is things that myself and Ellers need clarification or have made change, and things that I've made changes from what Ellers did originally. So there isn't, or there's a question. So again, not a perfect system. Let's see, so some of the things Ellers highlighted because they wanted me to look into, and some of the items were things that I've changed, so I highlighted them so that I would know. And then where it gets difficult is I wanted to go and highlight the whole line going over, but it will not allow me to. And
do
then,
we have an answer to Paula's question
yes.
about the ledger?
So yes, and I apologize, they did tell me all the codes. And I don't see it. Let me see if there's a legend on here. Yes. There was, each item, there was some specific, like if they were, if they could be amended, if they were set. And I can follow up with Brian. It's been a bit since we went over this. And I'm just checking all my other ones to see if there's a, give me a second to go through. If he breaks it down in here.
So is it like commodities, insurance, services, wages, and other? I just don't know which code goes with which word, because that's the very end says trend analysis by category. So is the code identifying what category stuff goes into?
Yes, and I don't see a key in here, and he did, like I said, over a month ago, went over that, but
Is he still stating that we need to chop like 30 some odd thousand
this
dollars?
is with that done.
With the 30,000?
With the
So this is
30,000.
already had that 30,000.
So this is, which,
So this balances, but with the
We still
incorrect
need to
amount
know
for.
that meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
exactly.
Sorry.
All right.
So
So
further
this is-
discussion coming after meetings in audit.
Audit
But
finance.
if anybody's going to either one of the next two audit and finance meetings, then this would be the document that you guys are going to be working off of.
I
on
have the
those
codes.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Z is 0. sets the value in all 5 years of the forecast period to 0.
Oh, got it.
L is last, sets the value in all 5 years of the forecast period to the value in the most recent budget or actual column. 5-year average.
So what's W?
You want me to go, W
Yep.
is wages.
Okay.
Regular and seasonal wages, overtime, holiday and miscellaneous compensation, longevity, premium pay, social security, retirement, unemployment comp.
So for expenses, if we go down to the last, the very end, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories down there at the bottom are what those correspond with. So the W would be wages, the I would be insurance, the C
S is
would be
services.
commodities.
Yep, E is
Yep.
employee insurance,
Okay.
because there's insurance for the village, and then there's
Yep.
the employee insurance. Yes, C is
Yep.
commodities.
Got it, okay. And then for the revenue stuff, that was really more how it's being dealt in the forecast document for the next 5 years, which isn't shown on this document.
Correct.
Got it, okay. So for the expenses, I go to the bottom. For revenues, I don't worry about it because I'm only looking at next year, not the next 5 years.
Exactly.
Got it, okay.
Thank you, Paula.
Yep.
All right.
Does anyone else have questions regarding this? And if I don't have an answer, me and Brian already have a meeting set up for tomorrow to take like specific items back to him. Again, my goal is, with us having the 2 audit finance meetings, that we get all the questions answered.
So is there a way to break out those things that we absolutely can't touch? The pass-throughs,
Yeah.
because it's going to drive us all insane if we're sitting here going, okay, well, here, what about this? And then you,
I could do
you know,
that. I can
you
do
go,
that between now and Thursday. I can absolutely do that.
Just to kind of give us, those are things that we don't even have to really talk about because there's nothing we can do with it. That way we can focus on the areas that we
Absolutely.
can look at making cuts or things like that. I think would be hugely beneficial, at least for my dumb brain.
Yeah, that's my only ask. It would make things a lot easier. And then the mindset is, trying to get through at least half of that on the 13th, and then on the 17th, the other half. I mean, depending on how far we get.
I did not see it. Do you know where the library line item is on here? Because I've looked through it a couple times and can't.
Absolutely.
see
So
it.
library has its own tab. Give me a second.
Oh wait, that's library gifts and donations, never mind.
But doesn't our funding for the library come out of the general fund?
It does. I'm looking at the, so library, they put in, and I'll have to see where it is, a line item on that general, but they have it at 105 for 2026.
But that's not what the village gave last year.
No, last year it was 95.
So they went back up to what we gave the previous year.
Okay.
So
Why is it not on
so they
here?
went based on what they gave in 2024.
Why is it not on here?
Give me a moment.
Sometimes just from press, it like shows up on a different, it shows up on the report differently. It's like a special line item or something. I mean, it still comes out of the general fund, so we just have to make sure that when you're looking
But
at.
it's part of the budget overall,
Right.
So we just want to
Correct.
make sure if that's missing, is there anything else that is?
No, I am
What
certain-
I found in the past, Brian, is
I'm
really
certain
library.
it's not
Okay.
missing. I just,
But if it was 105, wouldn't I be able to see 105?
That's what I was.
That's what I was thinking.
I
Is,
couldn't
is
find
if
it
it's
either.
on there, it's
Yeah.
it's.
So ask, Lucy, just ask Brian about it tomorrow.
I can do that.
And I'm curious what your pass-through EMS.
Did we put a placeholder number on for fire and EMS? Like 270 or something like that?
Yes.
Because I see the 2% dues for the fire, but I'm curious what your, it was a budget of 7,000 and what What is that?
Okay, give me a moment. First,
Which
I'm
number I'm
looking,
supposed to look at?
I'm looking
I'm
for
supposed to look
fire and
next to the
EMS
black
first.
line. Okay, that's the one I'm looking at. The black line, that's the budget for 2026. Okay, now I'm in the right spot.
I think I would take a spreadsheet with 30 tabs and formulas.
So anyone help me out, where is fire and EMS? Oh, here we go. Fire and EMS, village share, line 150. So the amount that, the placeholder that is in there for 2026 is 275.
Well, that's not going to be close.
And then the other, oh, you said fire department, 2% fire dues? Did you have a question?
Yeah, I was looking at the EMS, but I think I answered my own question.
Oh, okay.
So,
Do we have the number for Dane County Sheriff contract, 371,000?
Yeah, that's as is. That's preliminary.
That's our share or the
Yes.
split?
Yes.
that's our share?
Yes. Yes, we had that preliminary budget
Yeah,
at the last one, and again, that is expected to go down, but they cannot, and we were supposed to get a finalized budget at tonight's meeting, and
So
we did not.
That's 110,000 more than last year's budget?
So I'm going to give you some information on that. It says the current proposed cost on the schedule, or for the Schedule A, which is the budget that they gave us, is what the police costs are, including personnel, vehicles, equipment. The actual cost is actually lower because DC, Dane County Sheriff's does not charge for training time if a deputy is on special teams like the TAC team or the Honor Guard. And then also because of Deputy Lauritsen's retirement, there will be significant cost savings there as well. So he said those numbers are not
Accurate.
Entirely
Not
entirely accurate.
Okay,
They're
all right.
And that's what, and I put it,
project-
that's the 371,568, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we had entered. I don't, so yes, hopefully we can.
That's a huge increase year over year.
Reduce that. Keep in mind for budgeting purposes, we're not going to have the right number.
Right.
Because until we
Until we replace Deputy Lauritsen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we know that's going to go down.
Yes.
There's one.
So that's where we can grab some money.
But it's all conjecture.
It's all conjecture that we can't
until it actually-
really, because, I mean, we're better off leaving it as is and.
Exactly. Or we'll get in the
and
same situation
as
where
fire and
we
EMS.
are,
Yeah,
is what was
exactly.
done with the budget last year.
Yeah. I worry about, those are things that we don't control. So I worry about making slashes.
Hey, I'm gonna go back to what Brian said about that the public.
Fire protection?
Yeah, and I was just looking that on here. Fire protection hydrant rental or whatever. He said you could do bits and pieces over the years.
20% incremental.
Well, or $5.
He said we could do whatever we wanted.
Right.
With it.
What if we add a $5 fee for this year?
What is that going to generate us revenue-wise? Is it going to be worth it?
Well, $21 was going to give us $200,000. So $5 into 21 is not quite 25%. So
I would prefer it be a percentage, not a dollar, because that percentage, that dollar value on the individuals who have the 3-inch and the 5-inch
It's going to
is going to be a drop in the bucket, and that $5.
So let's figure out what the percentage is for $5.
Well, I like that the idea is that it's not just all about going through expenses. There might be a way to go and raise revenue to cover some of
Exactly.
that. So go and look through that option too, because I think that
Yeah.
was
I-
a staged-in plan.
A staged-in
sees a
plan
lot
is
better.
way more palatable
Than-
than just a $22 increase.
I would
And
agree.
if everybody in this
I would
town
agree.
doesn't understand that the costs have risen because of XYZ, they would
Everything.
obviously know that.
Everything.
But
And I did want to point out, and I'm sure you all caught this, but after I reviewed Casey's part 3 of the financial plan presentation further, my understanding increased because I did not realize that it is costing taxpayers more. So if you are a taxpayer and a ratepayer, it is costing you more right now as a taxpayer for that PFP fee than it would actually save your household money if you moved it entirely to the water bill. And he
I saw that, Lucy, and I got that. I thought that was, I could see that in the documents that he provided to us. But again, we cannot do a $22 a month increase in your water and sewer bill in one swoop this year. Not after the huge increase we had last year.
So do you think, this is my question, do you think that the constituents would prefer a lower tax bill?
But it's not going to lower their tax bill, Lucy.
No.
He already said that. It's not going to lower their tax bill. It's just that money is now going to be available in the general fund. It's not going to lower their tax bill.
Okay.
So he said essentially we have 3 years, right?
We have about 3.5 more years.
3.5 years.
Yeah.
So 25% of the $22 roughly is $5.50. But
Okay.
that's not going to get if we do this incrementally, what do we do? What do we say about 33%? That way it's 33 this year, 33 next year, 33 the year after
How
that.
much is 33?
$7.26. It goes up $2.
But multiply that by 12.
It's $87 for the year.
add that to the increases that they're proposing with the study.
Yep.
Because that's another couple
Now
of
there's-
bucks on
yep,
everybody
sewer's
else
already
too,
going to
right?
increase too. I would rather do you know what, let me look at, because he gave for us, we have a water and sewer. There are years when he says, we're not going to increase sewer.
Right.
We're not going to increase water.
Right.
So if we could do a little one now, and then one of those years when we don't have an increase that he's predicting we should take, then we do a bigger one then. I think we could even it out. So that just might be another way to switch revenue. If we get to that, we might need that.
It's an option.
And I'll look and see if I can come up with something that, might get it moved over, but in a more palatable way.
Yeah, we have to think about something, because we don't have the numbers for fire and EMS yet, and the police, that increase, so.
Well, that number, that is
The
number.
police is not going to go over that.
Police is only going to go down from that, Chris.
Yeah.
That is our
Right.
preliminary budget number.
I think the 270 placeholder for fire and EMS is grossly.
That's grossly underestimated,
Yeah.
regardless of whatever path we take. So
And I can't see what we would cut out to get another $200,000.
And unfortunately, that's where I say, well, if the switching I get it's not palatable, but that was $265,000. So add $265,000 to our fire and EMS, and that covers it, roughly. I don't like it either, but
But doesn't that just move it to the ratepayers and not the taxpayers? Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The 20.
Those 6 new homes don't have to pay for that.
See, and that's, yeah.
But they don't get
but-
fire service, you guys. They don't have a hydrant down there.
They would still get fire
They would
service.
still get
Oh,
fire service.
but this is for hydrants.
Right, but
This charge
yes,
is really for
Is for
covering
hydrant.
the hydrant costs, is what this charge is. And they don't have hydrants, so it's okay. Now, Thompson Correctional Facility, they have hydrants all the way out to them. And they don't pay anything because they're not a taxpayer to us.
And they have a 3-inch, so theirs would be a significant increase. Because I've heard,
I mean,
I hear you.
We can't do all of it this
no,
year.
I hear you.
We can do a portion of it, but we cannot do all of it this year.
I hear you.
It is going to wreck us. Because we've already heard from constituents over and over, I had a friend who was going to move into town, but then they saw the water rates, and so now they chose somebody else somewhere else to move. And we've heard that.
But this would be on their water bill as a fire and protection fee, right
Yeah,
on the
correct.
thing, right?
Right.
The
Yes,
water
it's
and sewer would be on there, but this
Yep.
would be on there as a fire and protection fee, correct? They'd
That's-
see
it
the
would be a
total bill
line-
go up.
It would-
get
it would-
that.
it would be
But it would be,
It would be
yes.
identified as separate, correct?
And I'll give you an example too, just like thinking outside of the box, and I wish I had more time to delve into other communities' utility bills just to see what they're doing. I know Yessie, who lives in Fitchburg, said there's all sorts of things that she was sharing with me, but in Marshall, like for our street lights, I have a street light fee on mine too every month.
But Lucy.
Yeah, I'm just
I mean,
throwing out.
I get there's all those fees on it, but we had we pay the most in Dane County by a long way for water. Adding more fees is,
It would be up for a vote.
So let's preface it this way.
well, now I wish I wouldn't have said anything, because none of you were talking about this until I said, I'll give you a little. And now you want it all.
No, I'm not saying that it has to be, but what I'm
When
saying
we're going
is
through each line
There's an
item.
overall budget that we're trying
it's,
to figure out
yeah,
what
I
to do
mean,
with too, right?
and Brian said, it's got to be done. And, you know, that, what did he say? 80%
75%
or
of the communities
75% of the
already
communities
doing
have
it,
done.
40%.
And I totally understand that we don't want to tax and fee our constituents out, but taxes and fees were the two things that he said are our
Income streams.
Income streams. So my fear is that we are going to make the same mistakes that past boards have made by not doing a well project because we don't want to tax the constituents, by not doing, you know, whatever.
And I get that, but you guys, we had such a huge
Oh,
water
I
bill
hear you.
increase. Can we just have like another year of maybe a
And
small
we
one?
just had 2 or 3 years of huge fire and EMS
Oh, I hear that,
increases,
you know, and that's,
what
and
do
I'll,
we do about that?
I'm just proposing, let's make it an incremental, the same incremental rate for 3 years. Obviously, we don't have to make that decision tonight.
No,
But,
absolutely.
you know, so,
Does
I mean, we
anyone
can.
else have any other ideas of a place to cut? I know, someone asked.
Is that what we're gonna do right now? Go
Yeah, I
through
didn't think we
things?
were
I mean,
We're
I
going
just
through
got
this whole
today.
thing?
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess-
This is
No.
what we're going to go over and out and find out.
If this is
It's
just,
10:30.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're
Yeah.
gonna go through
No.
ideas in line. I just got it, so.
Did
No.
anybody find the library on here?
I have to find the library.
Me either.
So,
But the library is not going to ask, I mean, our obligation is not 105.
right,
So
because what is it, 98?
it's 99,
99.
essentially.
Right,
Yeah.
and I know historically, we have given a little bit more, just to
But last year, it was whatever.
whatever.
It was
flat rate.
whatever the amount was.
And I will confirm that with Brian, where the library comes into play on this. I guarantee you that there's a formula where that is coming into play. I'm looking for 105 on here.
That's okay. We don't.
I'm very, very certain that it is in here.
That's okay. We don't, since we're not looking at
No,
all of that tonight.
Anything else on the?
I'm going to call the question.
Yep. We don't have any other action on this. It's just
Yeah.
for our information. This is what we're going to be sculling over on audit and finance. There was one ask, Lucy, if you could just take out the pass-throughs and what we have to pay.
Or at least highlight.
Or at least
highlight them in a way
Absolutely, I
that
can do
is
that.
like, put them in red or put them
Right.
in black
So-
or what, not black, but you know what I mean.
So we already did 9, new business, correspondence, anything? Nothing listed?
Nope.
Public comment? No second
No
public
public
comment? Referrals to staff? Anything?
I just have a question. Did we ever find out from Jane about Lucille Court?
Yes, she did reply, and I apologize that everything was passed based on our understanding about the, and please help me out here, Polly.
134, and then the 2 egresses
Yes. Yes.
to the
Yes.
condominiums.
Yes, yes.
And that was accurate, that was
that
carved
was
out.
accurate.
It was only the portion that is the
Yes.
circle.
Yes.
So the road will still be taken care of for residents?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Any other referrals to staff? Announce?
Oh, time out. We
Go
need
ahead.
to add the fourth quarter payment for fire and EMS onto the next agenda.
Got it.
Well, now we have the money to pay it, so it'll be a lot easier to say yes.
To note is 8E being noted, I know it's like the first thing on the second page, but still, or unless that got removed.
Which one?
Oh, yes, he had made a revision yesterday for cable. Did you ask something about cable to be added, Paula?
No.
I don't know.
Oh, I made
Under
a
8E, Cable
there was
Commission?
discussion about
Oh,
possibly
yes,
moving
yes,
Paula to the
yes,
cable
the cable
commission.
Oh,
Commission.
yeah, because I can't do it during the day. It was supposed to be during the day.
Is that what that was? Okay, my,
Yeah.
So is there an action item on that?
I'll make a motion to replace Sharon Jacobson on the Cable Commission committee with Paula Hollenbeck.
Okay. Do you want to trade something with Sharon?
I'll just take it.
Okay.
I
I'll
mean-
second that motion for you.
All right, discussion? All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Paula.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I had to note that because that does pertain to me a little bit.
Yeah, otherwise we probably wouldn't have had a quorum for that meeting again, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, in order to have a quorum, we have to have more people also added. So at the next meeting, we've got to find somebody else to be on it.
okay, I'll add that for the next meeting.
We can ask Matt Hewson if he would be willing.
Okay.
Does that have to be a?
Because that is always during the day,
Constituent?
correct?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, because
And that's just one that
I
needs
thought
as needed.
each municipality provides 2 board members. I don't know who the second board member is. Each municipality provides 2 board members and 1 at-large. So, we don't currently have an at-large, so I was recommending Matt Hewson.
I
Perfect.
think we need to figure out who the other person on it
Well,
is.
we had a Wyatt.
Oh, why?
Oh, is Wyatt on it?
Wyatt is
Yeah.
on that committee.
Okay.
And then, is it Ted?
No, it can't be.
It
It's
can't
supposed
be,
to
it's gotta
2
be
village
somebody
board
from
members.
here.
Oh, I'm sorry. We only had 1 village board member assigned to that.
Okay. Okay. So,
It's
It
just Sharon.
was Sharon and Wyatt,
and Wyatt hasn't been on the board since.
but he wasn't, it was at large. He was
well,
covering for at large.
There's supposed to be 3 people from Cambridge and 3 people from Oakland.
Oh. Okay. We'll see how often that meets, you know, so.
I was on it last year and it never met.
It meets,
So-
it meets only when needed, so, and we've got a big thing coming up in December that we got to do, so we have to have a quorum. Because Gary is retiring.
All right. So that definitely needs to go on for the next board meeting agenda.
Yeah, the next agenda.
Announcements, A, joint municipal fire EMS meeting tomorrow, 6:30. in Christiana.
In Christiana.
Library
It's at-
Board.
Thank you. I didn't know
Yes.
where it was.
Library Board meeting, November 12th. Audit and Finance meeting, November 13th. Audit and Finance meeting, November 17th. Water and Sewer Committee meeting on the 18th. Village Board Committee meeting on November 25th. And Budget Public Hearing, December 1st, 2025. Village Board Committee meeting on the November 25th. I'm asking Paula as the pro tem to take that meeting, so I will be in Key West.
The Fire and EMS Commission regular meeting is the 19th.
Ryan, you're going to ask?
Is there any plan to have a 4-village, anything on that coming up anytime soon?
Tomorrow night.
That's tomorrow.
Okay, that's what I want to, okay.
Yep.
Sometimes they list them as the 4-village, and sometimes
Yep.
there's a different one.
That's tomorrow night.
Okay.
That's-
Okay,
that's
is that,
item
is there also
A.
going to be a village meeting there with any action
Yes,
items?
so it's the same, it's going to be the same format that we did the.
I cannot attend, so I'm just
Okay.
letting you, because I don't know if we have a quorum, that's all I just want to.
It.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'll be there.
So
Sharon,
is
will
one
be-
more person going to be there tomorrow night?
Sarah, are you
I
there?
will not be
You're not,
there.
okay. Are you
Sharon, or
able to be at the meeting?
are you
I
able
know
to be at the meeting tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night?
Yes.
What's tomorrow? Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay.
It's in Christiana.
Then we have a quorum.
Okay. Ooh,
I better write it down or I'll forget.
Okay.
Okay. I'll
Perfect.
take 14.
One quick thing, since we didn't do the consent agenda, if I had a couple things to add to the minutes, should I just email you or Yessie?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that okay?
Yes.
To do next time? Okay.
Oh, what time?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Oh, Brian got it. Damn.
All
Brian beat me
right,
to
all
it.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are adjourned.
6:30 tomorrow night.